Welcome back to We Like That podcast.
Because we like that. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Joe.
I'm Calvin. Whisper a prayer in the evening. You wanna whisper a prayer that new. Ooh. How you doing, Javon?
I'm better now. I still have a cough, but I am COVID free. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Okay. Yep. So, anything exciting happened for you this week?
No.
We got to see Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice.
What did you think of Beetlejuice?
I actually liked it. I think they left some things that could have been. I think they left some things they could have used for the movie to make the movie more cohesive.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I thought it was cool.
It felt like they had a bunch of ideas and just threw them all in there at one time. Like there was a random storyline happening with Astrid, who's the new character, supposed to be Lydia's daughter. We got the storyline for Lydia. We got a storyline for Delia, the stepmother. We got a storyline for the dad. And none of them converged with each other.
I think it did. It just didn't do it the way.
How?
So with the girl, the mom, and the girl.
The Astrid, the daughter?
Yeah. It all stemmed from the dad being killed.
Okay, they tried to tie it up like that by having them reunite.
And they were disconnected because she thought that her mom, who can see ghosts, why can't you see the man that you supposedly love? It turns out he wasn't a spirit, I guess.
But they also established that he wasn't a man that she loved like that. Like she talked about how like they hadn't been a couple for some time when he finally passed.
But the daughter doesn't see it that way.
But they don't establish that for the daughter, is what I'm saying. There wasn't a lot of detail other than Astrid just was mad at her mom.
I don't think...
Like that was it.
I just wanted to at least...
And then her tie-in with the underworld didn't make sense to me. Why did we need this other character? We literally have a woman who can see ghosts. I
just think that touched... They try to tie that back some way. They touched it. That was good enough for me.
It felt like they had a bunch of storylines they wanted to do. They don't have the time
to go in depth with stuff. It seems like
they do have the time to do that.
I don't think they an hour and what, 2 hours? 2 hours. I think what they wanted to do is they wanted to make the daughter character relevant.
Here's what I'm saying. They could have used this as a jumping off point to make this a series.
I don't think they were trying to.
That's what I'm saying. So instead of taking their time to flesh out all these storylines they thought of, they wanted to put it in one film. And it didn't make sense. The Soul Train made sense. We don't see nobody of color for a good majority of that film. And when we do, they're all dancing to 70s music for the Soul Train. That made sense.
That's one. I get it. I get it. As soon as they say Soul Train, I already knew what was coming. I knew it was coming.
As soon as they said Soul Train, I was like, have we seen anybody who's not white yet? Or white passing? Have we seen a black person yet? They're all gonna dance to Soul Train. Hey!
That's when they said that. I'm like, well, there comes the diversity right there.
So here's the other thing. Tim Burton is notorious for not having black people in his film.
Okay, then.
So allegedly,
you think he's gonna have black people in there.
He said he was moving towards a more diverse characterization of it. And his lead, the girl who plays Astrid, I can't think of what her real name is. The girl who plays Astrid. She played Wednesday in another project of his. Do you remember that show?
Yeah.
She was leading that. And that was supposed to be his big break on introducing more people of color in his storylines because they changed Wednesday to be Puerto Rican. and people were upset. Um, so that's why the dad in this is also like of Hispanic heritage because she's maintaining her Latina
Why
heritage.
why does it matter? We never really see him until the end, and we
That is
can't
my point.
tell that he's
That's
Hispanic.
my point. But it's supposed to speak to Tim Burton broadening his diversity in his casting.
His broadening was the Soul Train.
Yep.
Which-
Soul Train.
Which, like I said, I'm not shocked that he used that as a diverse point.
I'm just saying, it came out of nowhere. It very much felt like an add-on. Like someone was like, "Hey, we need to add some other people in here," and they were like, "We'll do this."
Sure. I think
It was fun though. The movie was still fun.
I just think I enjoyed it because it's they didn't try to recapture the first Beetlejuice.
To you,
me.
okay? It didn't feel like they were trying
Like
to do that.
Coming to America 2, they try to recapture Coming to America 1.
In your opinion,
And
okay.
I think that's why it didn't work. But when you watch Beverly Hills Cops, it stands alone. To me, they didn't try to go back to.
So the latest Beverly Hills Cop?
Yeah, the latest Beverly Hills Cop to me
Okay.
stands alone. They didn't try to like.
But
make
they
it
heavily like recall on all of the previous Beverly Hills Cops.
Yes, as they're older, but it didn't like they didn't try to make it feel like the Beverly Hills of the past.
Oh, and you feel like Coming to America did that?
Yeah, it seems like they were trying to stick to. They were trying to make the Coming to America 2 more funnier than 1. It's like a lot of their things were they were trying to make it.
I would argue they're trying to make it more family friendly. In my opinion, I felt like Coming to America 2 was more family friendly because the dynamic was so focused on the daughters and the new son and all of that. Whereas that was not a focus at all for the first film.
It was focused, but it's focused on him finding a wife.
Yeah, but they weren't focused on family dynamics like that.
I get what you're saying.
All of the family dynamics that tied back to that was to his relation of having a wife. It wasn't like who's going to now lead us. They already had that established.
Yeah.
But for me, I agree with you that this Beetlejuice, the secondary one, it didn't feel like they were trying to keep it in the same tone as the first Beetlejuice. I agree with that. It felt like it was something that had moved forward, but I felt, in my opinion, it still felt like they didn't use Beetlejuice to its full potential.
I think they didn't want to give it the flair or the feeling of the first one because the first one was way more darker, a little bit more darker to me.
Okay, in tone.
The sandworms were way bigger, look way more scarier.
Do you think that's because we were little kids when we watched Beetlejuice?
Nah, Javon.
All right.
The Beetlejuice one.
We can rewatch it. It's on HBO
when
Max.
He was the arm of the banister of the stairs as a snake. That shit was scary as fuck.
You don't like snakes.
What I'm saying to you is that was still scary as hell.
He literally splits open his stomach and his insides fall out. Like that wasn't.
That's cheesy. To me, that's cheesy. And it didn't really look like guts.
Okay.
It was cheesy to me.
Okay.
The first Beetlejuice was darker.
You know what's funny? That the first Beetlejuice is only PG.
That's insane. To me,
Beetlejuice. It's 80, but that's 8. Apparently, like there was a change in the mid-90s somewhere on how the guidelines for ratings changed. So an 80s PG-13 is basically today's R. Like it is insane. It's
to
crazy.
Me, Beetlejuice was a little more darker. The things he was turning into dark, because like that face thing he did from the back, they did that at 8. That was a shout out to the first Beetlejuice.
One.
Yeah. But it looked more crazier back then.
It felt more funny. This one felt a lot funnier.
Saying. That's what I'm saying. This one was more on a light-hearted side.
Which made me feel like they were doing the TV show. Do you remember the animation?
Yeah. I watch it all the time.
So remember how him and Lydia become friends?
Yeah, they're friends, yeah.
I thought that's what they were trying to do with this one. And it kind of leaned that way. But then they gave us this other story that to me didn't make sense. The big bad that we had, quote unquote.
Beetlejuice,
she didn't do anything. She didn't do anything. What was the point of her?
Okay, if I had an issue, that was the issue.
Mm.
That was my issue.
Mm.
The ex-wife really had no. First, when he started going into talking like he was back in the Black Plague.
He's speaking Italian, by the way. It's very random.
Yeah,
it's very random. They just start speaking
so
Italian.
that's what I'm saying. Beetlejuice was back during the Black Plague. That's why
it's mentioned in the first movie that he hadn't had that much fun since the plague. That's what all that was from.
Okay, so I just think if you want to have a problem with the movie, I'll give you that one.
I'm just saying they gave us a lot of storylines that seemed to have come out of nowhere and didn't go anywhere.
I figured,
in my opinion.
I don't want to give no spoilers, but spoiler alert. If you're gonna watch it, don't. You want to fast forward through this. The part where she was riding the bike and went through the fence, and she hit her head on that tree. I figured that dude was dead.
So my question is, why did we introduce this as a storyline for her? That I didn't understand. I thought they were going to go a different route with that. Like they were going to further elaborate on how now she can see ghosts, and that was what was going to connect her and her mom back again. But instead, they gave us this other random storyline of like how he murdered his parents. He's in a murder house apparently, and he tricks her so that he can come back alive.
Like we was talking in the theater when I saw that. And he's like, my mom hasn't left the kitchen. I'm like, they're dead.
Calvin, first of all, I told you I think they're dead.
Then I was like,
then you told me he's working for the girl, which would have actually worked as a better story.
Because in
my opinion,
it made more sense.
It would have made more sense. But then when he ends up not.
But then when they were talking, I'm like, okay, he's using her to get back to the real world.
But it was so short, is my thing. They spent a lot of time introducing him for it to all just get resolved.
Honestly, to me, it wasn't that long.
To me, it felt because they established him pretty early on in the movie that he's going to be a character in Astrid's storyline.
But what sealed it for me that they were dead when he said the mom doesn't leave the kitchen, my dad doesn't leave the living room, and they never showed their face.
To me, what stood out that he was dead was when she busted through that fence and he said, "My parents won't notice anyway." It's like, what do you mean? That, and when she said, "My mom thinks she can see dead people." He's like, "But you don't believe that." And she goes, "No." And he just goes, Like that was, I'm like, this is interesting. Okay.
When she hit her head on the tree and that dude popped up, I'm like, I guarantee that kicked in her goddamn thing, her thing to see dead people. Because until that point, who knows? Maybe she was seeing dead people the whole time. Maybe the girls at the beginning were dead. Who knows?
That would have been a better twist. Her bullies be dead? That would have been a great twist.
Maybe I need to be a movie producer.
The point is, they introduced this kid early in the story, which usually means that the payoff for this is going to be up there in terms of like emotional telling for this character that it's attached to. But no, he tricks her. He's like, "Too bad you're going to die." And then Beetlejuice just resolves it immediately. So it was like, okay. It's very random. Also, did you know that the guy who played Lydia's dad, you know why he's not in the film?
Because he didn't want to do it?
He's a child predator.
Wow.
Yeah. Which is why I'm surprised they included as much of that character in the story in the first place. They could have just, when they said that he died, I was like, oh, okay. They're just going to say he's dead. Keep it moving. But no, then they added all this other stuff to it. You're like, okay.
Because no one knows.
Oh, a lot of people know. You just got to, if you Google Beetlejuice, he's one of the first that pops up.
People who cared don't know.
It's a very interesting time.
That's all I can tell you about that. That's all I got to say about that.
But anyway, yeah, that was the highlight of my week because we have been sick for like 2 weeks. So
you've been sick for like a decade.
Basically.
So many pearls, I don't have any.
I don't know what that is. All right, moving on into That Happened with Joe.
That happened with Joe.
So, on Beyonce's birthday, which is earlier part of this week, happy birthday, Beyonce.
That happened with Joe.
She released Sir Davis Whiskey, a highly celebrated whiskey, her first. And we magically found a place to go and buy it. We went to a very nice place to try to get it. And they said, no, we don't have it. And then we went to our regular Hood liquor store, and they were like, "Yeah, we got bottles of it. You want more than one?" So, shout out to our Hood liquor store.
So
They've surprised us more than once that they have the liquor that we're looking for. So,
yes,
yes. All right, Calvin, now you've tried it. What do you think?
whatever's whiskey to me.
Did you think it was smooth? Did you think it was
I don't think
terrible? It didn't have a bad aftertaste.
I don't think it's that smooth, but it's smooth enough for me to drink straight. I can
think
drink
it
it
is.
straight. Well, it's smooth. I can drink it straight.
But Calvin is a certified Beyonce hater, so you're not going to get a lot of praise.
I'm not saying it's bad. It's good, but I'm not a whiskey connoisseur like that, so I wouldn't know.
So, did you know that it
It's good
scored
enough for me.
95 points by the New York International Spirits Competition,
She paid for it.
which is a gold? She got
She paid it.
93 points, which is an excellent for the Ultimate Spirits Challenge. She got
Paid.
platinum, best in class at the SIP Awards,
You don't think because she's Beyonce they gave her all that stuff?
and platinum for American Rye Whiskey in the SIP Awards as well.
You don't think because she's Beyonce they gave her that stuff?
So, according to the internet, where'd it go?
She
They
paid for all that stuff.
actually submitted it anonymously. It was actually called something else at the time. Of course, I can't find out what that name is. I gotta Google this again. But they submitted it anonymously, so her
Bay
name
Whisk?
wasn't attached to it.
It's called Bay Whisk.
No, not Bay Whisk. It was under Davis Hogue Distillery Company. It was submitted anonymously, and it won all these things last year. She did it last year before she attached her name to this. Now, some of the conversation though is people saying that she just got a distillery to do it, like a known distillery to do it, like maybe Uncle Ernest, and that's how it got all this. But that's actually not what happened. She created her own situation. So there you go.
So she didn't have help from no one.
I'm sure she hired experts, but she didn't use an existing distillery is the thing, which is what a lot of people thought she was doing. Because a lot of people, when they have their own liquors, quote unquote, like Diddy and them, they just use an existing distillery and then create their own brand label. And that's usually what they do. But she literally created her own whiskey because she's that girl. So
she's a gazillionaire. It's not that hard.
Well, but you can be a gazillionaire and have terrible whiskey. Look at Diddy. So
Diddy doesn't have whiskey.
Exactly.
He has vodka. Well, he has vodka and he used to have tequila. You can say what you want to say about Ciroc. It's popping.
You don't drink it?
Yeah, I used to.
That is not your go-to.
I used to.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, it's
I didn't realize you were a Diddy apologist, so my apologies to you.
Here we go again. You going extreme because
I'm going extreme.
I said something about Beyonce and gave somebody else credit.
I am a certified Diddy hater. I didn't realize that you were a certified Diddy lover.
No, I'm just saying I drank Ciroc. If I didn't have great
you said Ciroc was the bestest. That's what you just said.
No.
Said you can make all the jokes that you want, but Ciroc is the best.
Ciroc was hitting. It was. My preferred vodka is Grey Goose. Then I go Belvedere. But we got Ciroc to try.
You just told me that you lived on Ciroc.
No, I didn't.
Oh. You didn't say that?
Yes, I did. You're right. I said exactly. I said I love Ciroc. Ciroc is the only vodka ever created that's delicious. Liquor's delicious. That's exactly what I said. You heard. That's what you heard. And that's correct. Why am I going to argue with you when your ears hear what it wants to hear? I'm not going to argue with you.
What they want to hear.
So, yeah, you're correct. Anywho, I think, like, if I had to pick whiskey to drink.
Does he not have his drinks at all anymore? What happened?
I'm pretty sure he doesn't. If I had to pick a whiskey to drink, I would grab that. I would grab the Sir Davis, I guess that's what it's called.
Yeah, it's called Sir Davis.
I'd grab it.
So
I'll also grab Uncle Nearest. But like I said, I'm not a whiskey connoisseur like that. I just really started drinking old fashions. I shouldn't say whiskey, old fashions.
What's Diego? Diddy was in a dispute with Diego to resolve a label. So he doesn't bottle his own liquor. He uses somebody else to do it.
Yeah. That's the cheapest way to do it.
Whatever. Anywho. So yeah, it was nice. I liked it. On to craziness.
Sure she did. Yeah. This week's worth the watch. Is that all for That Happened with Joe?
What?
Is that all for That Happened with Joe?
Did you look at the notes? Sir.
The worst thing a woman can say besides no.
Yeah.
What are we talking about here?
I'm trying to find the clip for you so you can hear this goodness.
You should have had this ready.
I was too busy fighting with you about Diddy's liquors.
Sure.
Ready?
It's my fault again. I'm sorry.
You ready?
Whatever.
No isn't the worst thing a girl can say, but the worst thing a girl could do is to pretend to like you or love you, get you attached, treat you like her boyfriend, and tell you she's not ready for a relationship. Shawty just played you like she's playing Animal Crossing. If there was an Olympic sport for getting played, best believe you would have gotten a gold or bronze medal. Y'all didn't even get past the talking stage. She dragged it out like this was 13 Reasons Why. If this was me, finding her would be as easy as trying to find the One Piece. This type of disrespect is something you can't tolerate. The woman species now makes your blood boil. Talking to girls romantically is something you don't even want to hear about. This is the type of pain and heartbreak that will have you up at 3 a.m. doing 3 sets of 20 push-ups while thinking of ways to change your life around. This is the type of pain that makes you want to get rich and conquer the world. After this type of foolery, she might have turned you nonchalant. Now every girl you meet after her suffers. It's like she broke the way you loved and trusted. This is honestly most of us guys' lore. A lot of us aren't born nonchalant. It's usually someone who makes us feel that we need to be this way to protect ourselves from the way we were once hurt. This is why I always say, don't give away your love and your heart too soon. It could all be a game of poker, and these girls are waiting for you to show your hand so they can crush you and take you for everything you have. No isn't the worst thing a girl can.
Okay.
This is what you women wanted. An overly emotional crybaby guy.
Wow.
And that's what he is.
That's such a Gen X answer. So
no, he's a bitch.
Calvin, first of all, you can't dismiss women and him all in the same breath. That's hilarious.
He's a bitch.
It took off. Right? So
yeah, because
it's hidden for a lot of people.
These men are hurt babies.
Unpacking some of this message.
What message?
It's very much a repeat of what I've heard from other guys about how, like,
overly sensitive crybabies?
No, the story of how, like, or I should say the running theory of how, like, why guys become players or whatever. Some girl hurt them bad, so now whatever, blah blah blah. Like, it's a twist on that.
That's an excuse.
I agree.
Number one. Number two, I played women and I wasn't hurt. So you don't have to be hurt to be a player.
I agree.
That's the biggest. These guys are overly sensitive.
I disagree on that.
They don't know how to process their emotions. They're overly sensitive.
So I feel
this dude sounds like
that this is not overly sensitive. It's just putting a voice to emotion, which is not something that your generation does. Because
my generation doesn't have time to deal with we don't have time.
What are you busy with?
Finding good women. That's what we're busy with.
So you think everybody in your generation has found good people?
No. What I'm saying is, I'm not going to sit here and cry about a female who did the same shit that dudes have been doing for thousands of years. So what? Get over it. Move on. Who gives a damn? I'm not going to sit here and cry about it.
So,
no.
I know you're currently in your feelings about this.
I'm not in my feelings.
But what did you think of all of his comparisons?
None. What comparison?
The One Piece comparison, the gaming comparison.
Doesn't it sound like a dude that stays to himself in the basement? That doesn't go outside and plays games the whole time?
That's another thing. They don't stay it's not correlated with being in the basement again anymore.
Okay. Then what's this correlated to then? Please tell me. What's this correlated to? That she's doing what she's supposed to do. She's cooking.
That's dead air. I need you to keep talking, sir.
That's how I raise him. That's how I get him.
Raise him?
Raise him? That's how I get him.
You groom now?
That's how I groomed him.
Gosh. Anyway, what I'm saying is,
do 2 jobs
this advice that they are very earnestly throwing out there, and apparently it's taking off because people love it. The comment section is wild. Wild.
For guys.
Guys of a certain age. Wild.
Guys who in their 20s. No grown ass men in their 30s and 40s.
That person's not in his 20s.
What is
it's in his teens.
Okay. Teeny boppers and 20s. Nobody in their 30s, nobody 40s.
Nobody uses teeny boppers. Anyway.
Who gives a crap? Nobody cries on the internet about being hurt,
Here's my thing.
especially not a grown man.
I feel like it's same shit, different day type of situation. You know how like when you're a teenager and you get advice from an older person
She's feeling the drinks.
and they're like, they tell you something that's really corny and you're like, whatever. But then you learn it for yourself and you're like, let me tell you something. Let me tell you what I discovered. But it's not something that you actually discovered. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
No.
It's like, how can I correlate this for you?
I know what you're saying, Javon.
It'd be like how.
I know what you're saying.
Then what am I saying? You just said no.
I know what you're saying.
Then what is
It's
it?
like somebody else got hurt, and you be like, I don't know what that feels like. And then later on down the road, you get hurt. You be like, now I get. Let me tell you a story.
Yeah, something to that degree. That's what
So
it feels
what?
like to me.
It's
But
life.
so here's my other
It's called
thing, though.
life.
I'm hoping that people learn not to take advice for
Whatever.
people who are in the exact same boat as them. You know what I mean?
Whatever. You're gonna have rainy days. Every day is not gonna be sunshine.
Rainy days.
Yeah, you're gonna have rainy days. You're gonna have great days. You're gonna have semi decent days, and you're gonna have bad days.
So the other thing that is
The whole point is to try to have more good days than bad days.
Yeah.
That's all you can do.
that's a very random statement to make. But
No, it's
my
not.
other thing is the use of nonchalance. Do people know what that word means?
No.
Okay.
People
Okay.
people don't know what a lot of the words they use mean.
Because like we just said, player. They're not using that word anymore. He said this is your core origin story of why you're so nonchalant. I said, what?
Most dudes are nonchalant.
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I don't think people know what nonchalance means.
Okay.
So, yeah, I just wanted to share that because I thought it was wild. And how it's taking off. And people being like, yeah, I'm in that boat today.
About to go
I'm in that boat right now.
off the hinges right now.
Why?
It's starting to get smiley and bubbly.
So, what's bad about being smiley and bubbly?
It's about to get crazy.
I might have had some wine.
It's about to get crazy.
I might be sipping on this wine as we're talking.
This is going to be a good show.
It's been a minute since I've had some wine.
This is going to be a good show.
And it's Stella Rose, so it's more sugar than actual wine. But it does not take much for me.
This is going to be a good show.
But it doesn't take much for me.
This is going to get crazy.
So that's it. That's all I got for Dat Happened with Joe. Clink, clink.
Okay. Sure. Anywho, I just think he's a crybaby, just like the rest of the crybabies.
You don't like emotions, though. You really don't. You really hate it.
You're gonna sit
So
there.
if you got a guy who's like, "Let me sit in this,"
that did
you're
you
like,
wrong,
"Oh, rub some dirt in it. Get over it."
as if she's the worst thing on the planet when dudes do the same thing all the time. It's par for the course.
You're saying it's hypocrisy.
You're gonna meet bad people in life. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I think the problem is my mom prepared me for the worst and the good. So when the worst comes, I don't get bent over or get upset and halt my future or my life at that time in that state for longer than I need to. I move on.
My thing, though, is that you're comparing this to how you feel right now, which comes with lived experience.
But this is how I kind of process stuff.
Calvin, you were a mess in your 20s.
With mess.
What mess?
Yeah.
You were a mess in your 20s.
What's the mess?
What was the mess? Communication issues? Full on getting other girls' phone numbers? We're supposed to be together. You don't remember all that? All that was a dream?
Like I said, you didn't have to stay. You could have left.
Calvin, but what I'm saying is...
Saying what?
Your takeaway right now works because you did have that foundation.
Let's be honest.
You did have that foundation.
Let's be honest.
But you also now have lived experience.
Let's be honest. You were doing what you wanted to do. I was doing what I wanted to do.
What does that mean?
We were together when we were together.
What?
When we weren't together, we weren't together. You were seeing a bunch of people too.
Calvin,
to make it seem like I'm the only one out there acting a damn fool.
First of all,
let's just stop.
We were in a committed, exclusive relationship when you got another girl's phone number. Let's not paint this as we were in an open relationship.
Yeah, for a day.
Calvin.
For a day.
But not for a day.
One day. Come on.
Definitely wasn't one for a day.
And you was out there shaking your hot tins, how my mom would say. hot parts out there with some dude on the dance floor.
My hiding parts.
Yeah, shaking your high parts with some dude on the dance floor.
I'm just saying, in our 20s, we did not
Exactly.
have the lived experience.
Did I get all upset and been out of shape? No. I just said it's par for the course.
But you're also a different generation. Tapping into your emotions, like you keep saying now, is not good. It wasn't seen as good. It was seen as weak.
No.
Yes.
Okay. I think it's more debate on how you were raised than.
I think it's both. I think it's generational and how you were raised.
That's all. I think dudes in my generation can be just as sensitive,
but I think they're also emotionally stunted
and be just as emotionally to guys. Now the difference is the guys in my whatever generation know that we have stuff to do. We have responsibilities we need to take care of. We don't have time to sit there and whine because it's not going to do anything. It's not going to fix anything.
Oh, that's what I should look up. What the marriage statistics and shit is.
So there's no need to dwell in it. That's what I'm saying. We didn't dwell in it because it didn't help anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying a lot of us don't need to sit on a couch somewhere. I'm just saying we didn't dwell. And
oh wow.
Exactly.
Exactly what do you think I'm looking at?
The marriage rate in my generation is high.
Yeah. It's mad high.
Exactly.
What do you think the divorce rate is?
I don't care. It has nothing to do with
because it's also high.
Yeah. Two things can be true.
Okay.
Anywho, moving on to Worth the Watch.
You're so crazy.
Coming from America, HBO series.
Yeah.
Pretty much, I don't know what she's got on this page, but whatever. Pretty much.
You didn't read the notes?
It's about
There's a link. You can click the link.
Yeah, whatever. I'm not doing that.
Oh my gosh.
It's what? How many? It's like 3 families.
Actually, there's supposed to be 4.
So it's 3 families who are moving from America.
4. But families. We haven't been introduced to the 4th one. But they're in the trailer. They're in the clip.
We've met 3 families. Pretty much, it's 4 families that are supposed to be moving from America to Africa.
Yeah.
Why? Who knows?
Blacksit. How familiar are you with Blacksit?
Not at all.
So, think around 2020.
Yes, I know.
Mid-pandemic.
Black people wanted to go back to Africa because they've been told to go back to Africa.
Not just Africa. Blacksit was to move out of the U.S., period. So there were a lot of black people that moved to Mexico. There was a lot of black people that moved to Panama and Bali and Africa. Different countries in Africa. Africa is a continent and not a country, everybody, just to establish that. So
I think our listeners know it's a country.
I hope so.
I mean, a continent.
You'd be surprised.
I think our people know it's a continent.
Well, you just said country, and I just agreed with you, and we just kept going. So anyway.
Like I said, it's the biggest continent on the planet.
Blacksit was this huge thing of people, kind of like, it happened during civil rights as well, where people were like, it's just not safe for black people in the U.S. It must be safer elsewhere. So there was this huge thing of people also making social media careers out of it, of being like, this is how you become an expat. This is what you've got to learn. This is what you got to do. Yada, yada, boom, boom, blah, blah.
So many girls.
Calvin, what?
I'm going to make myself a drink.
Oh, God. Take the macaroni and cheese out the oven. So, Warner Brothers Discovery released a press release, and essentially 4 African-American families pack up all of their belongings, risking everything to move to the new land of opportunity, Africa. Enticed by their ancestral roots, these families travel 5,000 miles to find love, jobs, and a better life. First, they'll have to survive the inevitable culture shock, but if they can endure the first 60 days, their lives could be changed forever. So my question becomes, are we watching a reality show of people making this earnest move, or is this some kind of game show that I'm not aware of? Is this a competition of who can stay the longest, depending on what they're going to do? The press release and this recap channel that I watched all reference 4 families, but this first episode only introduced 3. Even though the trailer coming into the episode shows a 4th family talking about how they don't have water. So I'm very interested. The structure around this is a little bit of a mess, in my opinion. This first episode I don't think it did a really good job of establishing these families, who they are, what they're doing, what the ages are. Like, also, the captions don't work, so it's kind of all over the place, in my opinion, this first episode. You ready to dive into these families?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
I don't do women's work. I don't take out food.
What? Anyway, first family is a Kelly family. They're coming out of the Bronx, New York. They're trying to move to Accra, Ghana.
Booyaka, booyaka.
They're a comedy family. So the dad, Gerald Kelly, is an established comedian, and he goes on the road with his sons. He's got an eldest son who's in his 20s, and then he's got a teenager and a little kid under 10 that are all in this comedy game. They've been on America's Got Talent. They've been on like several competition shows. So they're really moving forward in their professional lives as comedians.
Yeah, Gerald Kelly's been on comedy since I've been like a teen or a kid. His son started when I was like a kid.
Mm-hmm.
He saw them like he was like, what? I want to say like 10 or 11, something like that. Probably earlier than that. He was on like Laughpalooza, the Jamie Foxx one out of Atlanta.
Okay.
I think it's Laughpalooza and some other stuff. The youngest son, the youngest one, I just saw him randomly on, because like my YouTube, it pops up Chocolate Sundays comedy thing.
Mm-hmm.
Little like 2-minute.
It was out of the Laugh Factory. They do their YouTube channel. They show all those clips.
They do little like 2-minute, 3-minute clips, whatever. And he popped up.
Was he funny?
He's a kid. He tells like little kiddie jokes. So it's like, I guess, yeah, I guess.
Interesting. But he was on Chocolate Sunday?
Yeah. If your dad is like the closing act, and you're one of the, he can put you on, give you some of his minutes.
So this kid has no talent?
I'm not saying he doesn't have any talent. He has enough talent to get up there and try to tell jokes. I give him that.
Can he make you laugh once? All right.
I didn't really watch it. I saw it, I looked at it, and then I just went to something else. I'm not saying he's bad. He had a joke that was pretty good.
Okay.
I'm just saying, and he's young, so I'm not expecting him to be Dave Chappelle. I'm just, the fact that he got there and doing it is amazing in itself. Because it took me a minute, and I had stage fright.
I got more questions. You did stand up for Chocolate Sunday?
No. Doing anything in front of a bunch of people.
Public speaking, or playing sports, or performing in front of people. It takes a lot of courage to do. Okay.
Like the first time he playing drums in front of people, they had to come find me because I didn't want to do it. First of all, the fact that they found out I can play drums was like an accident.
We're veering off course.
But just getting up there and be able to speak in front of people, trying to do something, I give anybody credit to do.
Okay.
So he's on his way, because his older brother, like I said, started out the same way. So.
But so my other question becomes, how on the way are they? I've never heard of them. And you have established that they're not a high tier comedy act.
They're not Kevin Hart, Chappelle. It's like, who's at the bottom that you know that
bottom?
Yeah, like who's a known comic?
Kevin Fredericks.
Who the hell is that?
Kevin Stage.
No, Kevin Stage is bigger than them.
Okay.
It's above them. They're a tier below him, I would say.
Okay.
Give or take, they're a tier below him.
Oh, the dude that does the judge thing.
I have no idea.
It's like these debates on blackness.
Oh, I get what you're saying.
He came to one of the comedy shows we actually watched in person.
Who was this?
Black guy.
Tony Baker?
No, not Tony Baker. Dark skinned guy. I didn't know who he was, and you're like, he was on the judge show.
Davis?
I don't know.
Davis. Oh God, start with the R.
I don't know.
Davis, I know what you're talking about.
We watched him in DC when we got hoodwinked.
I think they're on the same they might be, as far as years, they're up there with Chappelle. Like Gerald Kelly, for how much years you've been doing comedy, he's up there with Chappelle for the years. Chris Rock, all of them. But as far as known, he might be below Ryan Davis.
Okay.
Or on the same status as Ryan Davis. I said he's probably on the same status as Ryan Davis.
Okay.
Now, for as long as he's been doing comedy, yeah. Because he might have been on a TV show too back in the day. But yeah, so I don't know what happened. He was like, I don't know. Anywho,
Illuminati. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. Anywho, his family is moving to Guyana.
Ghana.
Ghana.
Guyana.
Shana.
So we get introduced to their whole family. Gerald's married to a lady named Lamara Hunter Kelly. Gerald came with 5 children from previous relationships. Lamara came with 3 children from previous relationships. And then they had a child together.
And that's the one who's doing stand-up now.
Yes, his name is Hunter.
So they decided to move to
Ghana.
Accra.
Accra,
Ghana.
Yeah.
To pretty much try to open up a comedy spot.
Yeah.
And to like take their father-son act internationally. Which, to me, it can't hurt anything.
Well, I don't think they've done any research on what the comedy scene is.
No one's done any research moving to Africa. No one.
Because it's very apparent. But they're all like, we did want to try to live internationally, want to try to live in Ghana, kind of explore our roots ourselves. You also have Lamara, who's like, I've kind of lost myself in the sauce of everything that's been going on with the boys and my husband. They rely on me to be the backbone for a lot of the stuff that they're doing. However, I don't get to prioritize myself. So she's hoping the move will also kind of reignite her own purpose as well. Also, they're having relationship issues. Technically, Gerald and Lamara are legally separated. And they know their relationship needs to be worked on. It's a little rocky right now, and they're hoping the move will also help with that. They're really pinning a lot of hopes on this move.
Oh, they got that Avant song going on. Now that we've separated. But the difference is they still like one another. So, anywho.
Yeah, they get along. They get along pretty well.
So, they finally arrive in Africa.
Ghana.
They get off. And they have like a little ceremony they're waiting for them.
They're using an expat service.
They don't know the customs, so they're just bowing like they're in Asia or something for some strange reason.
Right.
And like they say, I don't know why they're bowing all the time. That's not a custom. And she goes, I'm just bowing because I see him bowing, so I'm just doing what he does.
I thought he did the research.
I thought she did research. So to get to their place is actually pretty nice. Here's another thing people don't realize. It's not like America where you have bugs that you know throughout your house. In Africa, in different countries, there are going to be different type of bugs. Like geckos and lizards and stuff, types of things, bugs that you don't know what the hell they are throughout the house. So they get there and they go to the master bedroom and there's like a gecko on the wall. She starts freaking out. And he doesn't know what to do to get the lizard out or whatever. They get it out, moving on. So then the next day they go to their grocery store and this is where it gets weird. They're looking for certain things. And international grocery stores are totally different. Even though everything's in English, it's not going to be the same name brands that you're looking for. Meaning, you're not going to get, you might find Doritos, but it's not going to be Doritos. You're not going to find Lay's chips. You're going to find other types of stuff. Certain things that you're looking for are not going to be refrigerated. And it's not going to be as chemically based as we're used to here. Because a lot of people international overseas, they don't believe in all that processed meat and all of your other chemicals in your food. So everything's going to be more fresh and more natural. I had to get used to that being overseas. So they're going to the grocery store looking for milk. And he's like, where's the milk? And he's like, where's the refrigerator aisle? And then point to the milk's over there. The milk is pretty much just sitting on a shelf. I don't even know what type of milk. Was it almond milk? What type of milk was it? It was regular milk. It was regular milk, and it was just shitting in the
shelf-stable milk.
Yeah. So they're sitting there trying to figure out what's going on with that and all this other stuff. So I'm like, that's pretty much how they do stuff overseas. Everything is not going to be refrigerated like in America. It's just different. And you got to get used to that. So they talked to another African who's in the grocery store. She's like, is it rare that Americans don't know what to do in the grocery store? She's like, no, not really. Everybody else knows what they're doing. It's like, she's like, it was strange that they didn't know where to go, what was going on. That's kind of odd. Other people don't have the same issue. And that's pretty much where we leave the Kelly family. You got anything else to add about the Kelly family and their first day in Africa? Also, the kids are trying to figure out what they're going to do because there's no internet. Oh, they don't have internet. So the kids are like, I don't know how we're going to do what we're going to do. The mom is ecstatic because now they're going to have to sit there and communicate. Which, if you don't know, these kids nowadays don't know how to do. That's not their forte. I just think there's a lot of things that they didn't do research on, that they didn't have, that they had expectations for, and was sadly upset when it didn't. Another thing was the guy asking for a McDonald's. He's like, there's no McDonald's.
Oh, they were asking for all kinds of fast food.
And then he goes, well, is there an In-N-Out? I'm like, sir, if there's no McDonald's, there's no way in hell there's an In-N-Out.
I think he was joking because they are a comedy family.
Okay, sure. Anywho, so that's another thing you gotta get used to.
It felt like they hadn't traveled a lot internationally.
No, they haven't.
That's what it felt like.
If they have, they went to places that had
everything there.
It was somewhat Americanized to a certain extent.
Westernized, yeah. Yeah. What else?
Because like I said, I went to Korea back when they still had rice paddy fields, and they had a McDonald's in the small town, the town I was in. The shock was what the McDonald's was serving: shrimp burgers and all that stuff.
Shrimp burgers,
yeah, bulgogi burgers, kimchi burgers. That's the first time I seen hot wings in a McDonald's. Those hot wings were delicious. They were I said, screw the Big Mac, screw nuggets. I was just getting the wings, 10-piece wings, but a whole bag of fries. It was ridiculous.
What did you think of the guy from Ghana telling them that comedy there is different than America's, and that a lot of it is more exaggerated and draggy?
Yeah, because they might have a joke about a zebra walking in the background doing something crazy.
They don't have jokes about zebras. That's an American fascination.
They do.
Okay.
I
didn't realize you knew the Ghana comedy scene.
I did. I've been there before.
You've been to Ghana?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I've been in a lot of places I haven't told you. That's neither here or there. Anywho, yeah, it's different because the style of joke that they tell is more based on where they are. So they're just talking about their experience living in Ghana.
So it raises more questions for me because Gerald very vehemently states that the comedy scene in Ghana is about to take off. And they use the example that Dave Chappelle had been talking about opening a comedy club in Ghana. But I'm also like, is he really going to do it?
And two, people talk and don't do a lot.
Also, a lot of this seems to be hearsay. You haven't visited Ghana.
Exactly.
So anyway, yes, that's the Kelly family. It'll be very interesting to see what happens there. Because they actually have little ones. And I think that is what is going to be the make or break. Like kids that are still school age. So on to the next family.
The Smiley family.
I have something tickling my throat. Anyway.
What do you want me to do about it?
Okay. So, Smiley family is trying to move from Beacon, New York to Lusaka, Zambia.
Zambia.
They're an interracial family. Elaine, the wife, is married, who's black. She's Jamaican American. Is married to Gabriel, who's white. They have 2 kids together, Waverly and William.
Oh, na, 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 hey. Hello.
Elaine is wound tight. Elaine has a lot of things happening at one time.
Very.
Elaine goes on to say that she felt they bought into the American dream of owning a home and a white picket fence, because they literally have a home with a white picket fence. But they felt increasing stress living in the U.S. as a family of black children.
How much you think that is real and just made up?
I hear it a lot, actually, from other women who have children, black children. I actually hear it a lot.
Do you want to get some water or anything?
Yeah, I'm going to go get some water.
Okay. Has it increased since all the things that have been going on? Like the Michael Brown thing, the Trayvon Martin thing. Now the lady, I can't remember, the lady that just got shot in her house.
Mm-hmm.
So is it that
Sandra?
No, that's Sandra.
Sandra something.
It's another. It was. I forgot. I'm thinking of Sandra, the one in Texas. Wasn't she Sandra too?
Yeah, I think we're talking about the same lady.
Yeah, wasn't. But there was a Sandra in Texas too, wasn't it?
I think it's her. I think it's who we're talking about. The lady got shot in her home by the SWAT team. They're supposedly going after her boyfriend.
No, that's Breonna
Taylor.
That's Breonna Taylor. There was a Sandra that got killed in a traffic stop in Texas. I'm talking about the lady who was in her house and he told the called the cop the devil, and then he lost it for some strange reason.
He was already in the apartment. Yeah.
Yeah. So my question has it spiked since then, or this been an ongoing occurrence?
I think awareness has spiked since then. Like people really paying attention has spiked since then. Also, like I said, Blacksit has been growing in popularity since then as well. So I think it's a combination of all of those factors. Plus, they have the means to do it. So Gabriel kind of sent out feelers to see if he could get hired by any international schools, because he has a career and background in education. And they got a bite in Lusaka, Zambia. So now they have the means and opportunity to explore that and see if that's something that they can sustain.
Once again, they did minimum research.
Minimal, yes.
So they
did not visit Lusaka before they got there. Yeah.
So first of all, they're having issues leaving because the grandparents are feeling some type of way. His parents,
for sure,
are feeling some type of way. I guess him and her, his mom and her,
his wife,
and Lane are cordial.
They're contentious. Contentious.
What's that mean?
Basically, they'll smile in your face, but they'll take your place. Backstabber.
Okay, to me,
backstabber.
They're cordial.
Cordial is like they don't have to deal with each other very long. That's cordial. But that's not her case.
Yeah, they don't have to deal with each other that long.
Actually, they do. Well, at least while they were in America. Like how his parents just popped up. They're within driving distance. That adds to her animosity.
Sure, whatever.
Plus, I'm sure him choosing to marry her was already contentious. That's why she was like, they're going to blame your black wife.
So, and then on her side, her mom, I guess her mom has nobody else.
Her mom has other people, but her mom is afraid of flying.
So,
and her mom has always been like right there, just like his parents have been.
So, with all that going on, them trying to move, you can see the conundrum, I guess.
You feeling your drink?
No.
Okay.
So they move to Zambia. They get there. Once again, another nice neighborhood and another nice place.
They actually point out, or was it the Kelly family? One of these families points out all of the advertising that they see is all black people. And that's a first for them.
That's the third family from LA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We'll get to them then.
Yeah. So they get there. She's trying to get used to the place and everything. She decides she wants to go to the grocery store, which is like an hour or two away.
This is another place that's really nice. They found a place that looks like a western suburban area.
Yeah.
It's all homes, looks like a cul-de-sac.
Nice. It's I would say this, the homes are nice. The homes are amazing.
But they do note it's small.
But because those people don't live
like Americans.
Americans with they live with what they need, their necessities.
Their means, yeah.
Their means. Unless you're uber rich, a product of a royal family or something like that, then it's excessive. But everybody else lives within their means. So she gets there, she's like, we don't have a washing machine.
Or a dryer.
Or a dryer. Which
is normal for them. They wash in buckets.
Yeah. Which is normal for me too.
Is it?
Yeah. I grew up without a washing machine.
Staring at him incredulously. Is it?
Yeah. I grew up without a washing machine.
Yeah, I know you did not do your laundry, Calvin. I know you didn't do your laundry.
I never said I did my laundry.
Okay.
I grew up without a washing machine. But I did have to hang my clothes up on the line.
She's saying it from the point of somebody who has to do the laundry. Has to.
What I'm saying,
you're saying it from the point who even after you guys got those things, you still didn't do your laundry.
Actually, I did after we got a washing machine.
Boo lies.
And I had to hang up my own clothes. Have you ever hung your clothes out to dry on the clothesline?
Yes. Yes, I have.
No, that's a lie.
Yes, I have. I have done that.
Now who's lying?
It's how I know how to air dry the clothes over here.
You're wrong. That's just putting it. Whatever. Sure.
It's the same thing. You gotta string out the line. You gotta put one clip up so you can put the other clip up. You gotta make sure nothing's overlapping so the wind can actually blow it. The clothes can be really stiff when you air dry it yourself that way because there's no fabric softener portion of things.
Whatever.
Technically, it's better for the environment for you to airline your clothes.
Whatever. You grew up hard.
I'm not saying I grew up hard. I'm saying I'm familiar with this. I'm also familiar with not having the washing machine.
She wasn't used to having that. And then I think the water went out or something?
That was a clip from another family. Say that they had no water.
Okay.
But they point out, the Smiley family points out that their fridge is tiny.
Yeah.
It's super small.
Yeah.
And they're like, we have to keep going to the grocery store because we can't really stock the fridge the way we normally do.
She also talked about the bugs and the flies and all that stuff. We all know flies vacation in Africa. We all know that.
Not vacation.
that's where the flies go on vacation. If you wonder why sometime in the summertime there's no flies, they're all on vacation in Africa.
Living their best lives.
Living their best lives. Even so.
But what got me was the fridge. They showed the fridge. That fridge is tiny.
Because those
tiny.
People overseas don't eat in excess like Americans do. They don't.
So I was watching a recap, and they weren't talking about how, because they do eat in excess, but their food spoils faster because they have real food.
Yeah.
They don't have preservatives.
Yeah.
So it doesn't sit like our food does.
They only buy enough for maybe 2 days, maybe 3.
Mm-hmm. If that. Right.
So, yeah.
But yeah, they regularly go to the grocery store. It's not a once a week trip like it is for us in America.
Their food doesn't have all those. I was talking about that.
Preservatives.
Yeah. When you was somewhere else.
Uh-huh. I'm making steaks.
Yeah. And that's why the food taste and the meat taste so different.
Because it's real.
Yeah. It's like, I remember the first time I ate meat in another country. I was like, did they just take this shit out the cow today?
So this is so fresh.
I'm like, I can damn it taste. I'm like, I don't know what this is.
That's how I felt eating fish the first time somewhere else. I was like,
that was the healthiest.
why is it like this?
that was the healthiest I think I've
It
ever
feels like I
been.
can taste the ocean, right?
I think that was the healthiest I was ever in my life.
That's what a lot of people say. So this expat couple that is apparently on the show at some point. They're actually so remember the guy that welcomed the Kellys and he brought the drummers?
Yes.
He's the other family. Him and his wife are expats.
Okay.
So at some point we're gonna see them. And they're doing a little recap show on their YouTube channel right now. But they're talking about how like, yeah, everybody's fridges are tiny. And it's not because of the excess, it's because the food spoils so quickly.
Yeah.
Like they gave this story about how they bought bread for the first time over there. And that bread started to spoil after like 3 days. That's insane. For me, as an American who's used to bread staying the same for a minute, 3 days, and it's spoiled is insane. But apparently groceries also aren't that expensive.
No. So moving on to the final family.
One more thing. What did you think about their dog antics? The story around the dog.
What
The Smileys brought a dog with them to Lusaka.
Yes.
They regularly walk this dog.
Yes.
They're the only family in their area that has a dog as a pet.
Because dogs.
And they're getting weird looks from their neighbors.
Because that's food.
It's not food. They don't eat dog there. Wrong country, Calvin.
It's food.
Wrong country, Calvin.
Sure, it's food.
It's not.
Number one. Number two, they have tigers and lions as pets. They don't have to walk them. They have the whole.
There's no African tigers.
They have the whole forest, the whole safari.
They're talking about how like a lot of the families around them don't have pets. They don't have
because that's food for other animals that's around there, Javon.
No, they live in a suburban area. Other people don't have pets there because they don't really have veterinary services there.
Okay. Moving on to the last family.
You're so crazy, Calvin.
From Los Angeles, California.
Yep.
The Davis family.
Go ahead, Calvin. You had to interrupt me and tell me to stop talking. Go ahead.
Julia.
Javon
Davis. Pretty much she's like an Emmy award-winning makeup artist.
Amy Award?
I said Emmy.
You said Amy.
What else did I say?
Giovanni.
It's Giovanni.
It's Javon. I've never seen Javon as a last name.
It's French.
That's the first time I've seen Javon as a last name. I was like, okay.
Because it's French. And that's pretty much it for me with her. I don't care.
She's an Emmy Award-winning makeup artist and an intuitive spiritual healer. Her goal to move to Africa.
Which means she's a bullshit artist.
No, her goal to move to Africa is to open up a women's wellness center over there because she feels like she can bring something that Ghana hasn't seen yet. I feel like that's true in more ways than one. So
let's just close our eyes and breathe in, breathe out.
I like her vibe. She has sound bowls that she's mixing for her class. And she tells them excitedly that she's about to make her move to Africa for realsies.
Be one with your ancestors. Let the ancestors come in and guide us. Yes.
The other thing that comes with this, though, that she also shares with her class, is that she is also about to explore her romantic life out that way. She's trying to land her a king. I'm gonna need them to stop using these titles like this. Clearly no research has been done.
There's not that many kings out there.
Culture shock. What do you think the dating culture is over there? You don't think they're a little conservative?
Hello. That's what the dating scene is.
You are racist. So
no.
We find out that Julia homeschools her children, and she actually has 4. Dion is her eldest, who's 24, and then we have the twins, Jordan and Trevor, and her youngest is Joni Air, who I think is like 3 or 4. She's moved her family around a lot. She shares. They've lived in like every major city. She apparently has a kid for every major city they've been in. And she hopes to further the discovery of their Ghanaian roots. They're actually 20% Ghanaian. I'm sure from a DNA test. And she hopes to land this king.
Which means she gonna end up with another dude that ain't gonna do nothing.
Probably.
And pregnant with another kid with the father who is probably running scams. Who knows?
So you said this is a family that notices all the advertising is all black people.
Yeah.
Okay.
First thing when they were riding around to their place, they noticed all of the advertising were black people which was it's like a culture shock. It's very different.
That would be a culture shock for me if I'm looking at everywhere I see black faces. Everywhere, that would be a culture shock for me.
So they get to their place, which is another nice place.
It is a really nice place. It really is.
And I don't even know what happened with them.
So they get there. She gets the boys ready to unpack and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And then she's like, "Let me see what the wellness culture is out here."
And it's just dudes.
So she goes to a wellness spa, and it's like all men, and it's very awkward. And she's like, "What kind of massage am I getting right now?" And he's like, "Swedish."
It's a sensu massage.
And it looks like he's just rubbing her neck. And she goes, "So this is a Swedish massage?" And he goes, "No, it's just a massage.
It's just a sensu massage." Take that.
She was like, "Okay, all right."
Take that.
So she's like, "It is." She doesn't use the word interesting. She is very dismissive of it, and it's just like it is.
She doesn't understand.
They don't know what I'm about to bring. Kind of attitude.
What she doesn't understand is she just went to a even more male dominated
country.
Country. Not even. Yeah.
Yes.
Country and with customs. Yes. Male dominated customs.
Yes. It's very paternalistic over there. It's very conservative. I don't know. Was no research done?
No.
For these places?
You keep saying this, and I keep telling you they don't do research.
We didn't do a visit.
No.
We weren't like, let's just visit.
How you have a show if they did visit and did research? It wouldn't be a show.
Okay, so this last family that's making the movie, that apparently they're going to show us at some point, this fourth family, they did all this research. They did. They heavily looked into the country they were in, what the culture is in that country.
Because they weren't on a show when they started doing it.
Okay, fair. That is fair.
That's why.
I'm interested to see when this fourth couple is going to show, though. I'm interested to find out. This is only a 6-episode series, also, is the other thing. It's short.
Okay, that's crazy. Well, somebody must have backed out. And that's pretty much worth the watch coming to America from Africa. Coming from America.
Coming through.
Coming to. I don't know. Coming from America.
Of these families, who do you think is going to leave first? Who do you think is going to stay?
The lady's going to leave first.
Oh, the single lady. The single mom.
Yeah.
You think she's the first one to go?
Yeah.
I feel like she's going to stick it out to prove a point.
She's going to leave.
My opinion, the teaching family is going to leave.
They're not going to leave because he has a job there.
He can get a job in America.
If he could, he'd have stayed in America, I think.
Here's why I feel are factors that they're going to leave first. His mom. He's clearly a mama boy. He's clearly a mama's boy.
I don't think they're going to leave until he's done with that semester. Maybe after that semester, then I'll give you that, yeah.
So I also don't know if they do semesters or if they do quarters.
The Kelly family's going to leave by default.
You don't think they're going to stick it out at all?
No.
But
they're going to find they can't make money there.
Oh, they don't have to. So they do comedy. They don't have to stay there 24/7. They can fly around and do what they got to do.
They're going to see that it costs way too much to fly around like they're doing.
But you can have your venues pay for that. For your flight. So you don't got to pay that out of your own pocket.
If you're not a big name, they're not going to keep footing the bill of flight.
You don't have to be a big name. Influencers are getting their flights paid for. They are not big names.
And then when they get to that venue and that venue finds out they can't fill the seats or sell the tickets, trust me, they don't get a call back.
But what I'm saying is clearly these people are doing something because they're paying for their flights in America right now. They're not paying out of their own pockets to fly to these different places.
What I'm saying to you is they're going to see that they're losing more money than they're taking it.
I think they got to buy something first for all that to happen, but okay.
Sure, whatever.
That's the other thing. They haven't bought a place for this comedy club to be. How that going to work?
And, so you got anything else coming from America?
What did you think of the comment that the one son made about landing a queen?
Who cares?
I gave that lady grief about landing a king. Do you think he could land a queen? He said multiple.
He's an L7. No.
An L7.
Yeah. No.
I'm very interested.
He's 30, still living with his mom.
I'm very interested to know what Ghanaians think of American romance.
He's 29 years old, living with his mom. They're gonna see an issue with that.
But okay, so in Ghanaian culture, it's not uncommon for you to live with your family through the ages. So like that, they don't see that as a diss.
He's not Canadian.
That's what I'm saying, though. Does he get any extra edge for being American?
No.
Oh.
They're gonna look at him. You're American. You shouldn't be living with your parents.
No, the whole living with your parents thing that you're stuck on, they aren't stuck on at all.
Okay, whatever. Sure.
It's like Asian culture. Like living with the family is just seen as normal.
If you're Asian,
it's the same thing.
If you come from America,
If you come from America, they're in Ghana now.
Trust me, they know more about American culture than he probably does about Canadian culture.
Sure, but they still have their own understanding of living with the family, their own respectability politics about living with the family.
Sure.
So I don't think they're going to be a stickler about the fact that
he's going to get just as much play as he got in America, which is none.
Here's what my question is. Some African cultures prioritize dowries, right? They look at finances. Do you think that they attribute more finances with being American?
Yes.
Okay.
They assume you have money.
I'm very interested to see if any dating is going to happen. Be very interested to see how that's going to work. But yeah, that's all I got.
Sure. And now, Love After Lockup.
You don't get your song?
No, I don't feel like singing.
Oh, you're feeling your drink now?
After Lockup. I don't want to start with Zariah. She gets on my nerve. Screw that hoe.
I'm surprised we didn't get no Kim and Joey.
Screw that hoe. We save her last. Let's start with Shantae and True.
It was short and quick. True is now backtracking on all the shit he said prior, and it's now like Shantae's the one.
True is the only dude
we need to be together.
Whole thing that sucks. He's the only guy that sucks.
He's just very flippant in his attitude.
No, he's childish.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Mm-hmm. Two things can be true.
Yeah, you're right. So he's coming back because Shantae
is pregnant with his twins.
Told him she's pregnant with twins, but she don't know why he came back. Which is
they don't live near each other, so he literally decided to drive out there like that. After she told him not to do it.
I don't know what she thought was going to happen.
I also agree because she reached out and called him. I agree.
You're still on the show. The show's going to make him come.
I don't know. I'm confused by this convoluted storyline because there was a time jump and everything. I don't know what's going on.
So anywho, he goes to the grocery store to get steaks and omelet and eggs and cheese.
That's what that was supposed to be? A steak omelet?
To make omelet. To make an omelet for her.
Ugh. Brother, ugh.
Yeah. And then he makes the omelet. They sit there and they talk.
He apologizes.
He apologizes, but she said it's going to take time. And whatever, whoop-de-whoop. That's it for them. Moving on to Letitia and Keith.
Yeah.
So let's just start with Letitia before we get to Keith. So
she played herself.
She finds out
they played themselves.
Pretty much,
I was right. That's what they find out.
Paying on a home that is being
foreclosed on.
Because the people who owned the home was not using the money she was giving them for rent to pay the mortgage.
Pause. I don't believe this storyline. I think she owns that home. I think she's the one that has been paying the mortgage.
Then why go through all this other BS?
For the show.
It doesn't make sense. You can just do the same thing like she's not paying her mortgage.
I don't think she wanted to admit that she was the one not paying it. If you've noticed, they haven't said anything about her business foreclosure either.
They touched on it. She didn't say anything about it.
They did not touch on it.
Yeah, it's like, so what's going on with your business and all that stuff? She's like, I don't want to talk about it.
Then they didn't touch on it.
That's what I'm saying. They quickly try to bring it up.
But my thing is, it's very public information that she has financial issues. And I could have swore there was a story that came out that she was evicted. Well, I guess that would still stand if she was leasing. But my gut is telling me she's the people that's not paying the mortgage. That's what my senses are saying. Because it's quite convenient that all that's happening.
So now moving back to Keith and Letitia. Letitia finds out that the lawyer they hired from
Paralegal.
they hired from jail was
He's
pretty
not
much
from jail. I mean, he's a former
he's
felon.
an ex-felon from jail. Same thing. He might have been selling them wolf tickets. Or selling them wolf tickets.
I've never heard this expression. Wolf tickets?
Yeah.
Wolf?
Yeah.
All right. What does that mean? What's a wolf ticket?
It's like a wolf in sheep's clothing. You're selling somebody a dream that you know on your end is not going to come true.
So I understood
like you
that
selling
differently.
tickets for something that you know is not going to happen.
I understood this differently.
What was the difference, Siobhan?
To me, it felt like that lawyer was saying, you got a guy who was in the system who knows like pieces of how that system works and is now trying to make a dime off of the pieces that he knows rather than knowing rather than becoming an expert in it. He's doing it off of the pieces he knows. And because he's kind of like plugging and playing with these pieces, it caused the other lawyer to withdraw because it didn't matter what the lawyer was going to file or how they wanted to move. They were trusting this paralegal over that lawyer. So they were like, I'm out because this is not, these pieces that he's throwing at us aren't connecting to anything that we actually have set up for you. That's how I understood it. I don't know about these wolf ticket business.
So what you're saying is they had a defense attorney.
They had a public defender.
He had a public defender.
And then they also hired this paralegal separately.
They didn't believe in the public defender. They hired another separate paralegal.
They believed in the public defender, but public defenders, like the paralegal explained, are busy. So they wanted somebody that was going to prioritize Keith's case because they wanted to speed up the process.
So it sounds like the paralegal was trying to get things done and the other people didn't want to. Or they were like, this is nonsense.
That's how he sold it for sure, was that he was trying to get things done and the other people didn't want him to. But when the lawyer was looking over that docket, he's pointing out there's nothing to do. Everything that regards to the changes of the laws that might affect Keith's case are going to be put in practice in the future, not now. These aren't immediate changes whatsoever. But the way they understood it from that paralegal was that these were immediate changes. And that's why this paralegal was moving the way he was moving. But it was causing the public defender to be like, we can't do it this way. We can't do it this way. And Keith and Letitia were seeing that as the public defender not doing his job. So rather than the public defender going back and forth to try to explain to them what's happening, they withdrew. And I wouldn't put it past this public defender attempting to try to explain what this is and them not believing him. That's how I understood it. Because the lawyer switches that docket around and points out to her that this says that it's in this, whatever the clause was, but he was saying that like this is intoned for the future, not for now. It's for people down the road, like people who are going to be sentenced like this in the future, not for right now. And also the way that he described Keith's 8 months, he held his fingers like it was a small amount. Like it wasn't enough time for them to really do anything other than wait that
basically
sentence
what
out.
She was saying is his time is so short, they're not going to do anything anyway. It's only
right
8 months.
for the less 8 months he got.
It's less than a year.
Right.
They're not going to do anything.
My other question was, why didn't they just take this to that lawyer in the first place? So many questions. So yeah.
They had to have a storyline, Javon.
The other thing is, the lawyer points out paralegals can't file these motions. What is happening?
But that paralegal did tell him he was trying to look for a lawyer to help file that stuff.
He said that?
Yeah, he like, I'm in the process of trying to find somebody who will file this stuff for me. Oh, I'm trying to file it myself, but it's going to take time. I can't file it.
He can't file it himself. So yeah.
That's what he's saying. I'm trying to find somebody who will file it.
Very interesting.
I think the dude had the best intentions. He just didn't know what he was doing.
That's what I'm saying. He knew bits and pieces, but he didn't have the full context to put all of those things together. So I think he knows a little, but I don't think he knows enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I think the paralegal just quit. I think not the paralegal, the
public defender.
Public defender just quit. Because I think he didn't want to deal with them and he had other stuff going on. And he's like, he only got 8 months.
The personality that they've established that Letitia, for sure.
That's what I'm saying.
I wouldn't be surprised.
It was a little bit of
if
both.
it was a constant call situation and they were like, I can't deal with this anymore.
I think it was, like I said, I think it was a little bit of both. He was like, this nigga only got 8 months.
Right.
And I'm sick and tired of you calling me. There's nothing we can do.
Plus, you have this other guy. I've got
Exactly.
I'm out. I wouldn't be surprised. But now Letitia's disappointed because they had been celebrating and making plans. Like Keith was about to be out at any moment. I don't know why they thought this, but whatever.
And that's pretty much Letitia trying to figure out how she would tell her kids she got to move in a couple of months.
And that Keith is not coming home.
And Keith is not coming home.
Right.
Her oldest is going to be fine. Her youngest might.
Her oldest is not fine.
Her youngest might flip a table and punch her in the, oh no.
I am.
But we'll see what happens.
Quietly concerned at how close the youngest is to Keith when she's never met him.
Yeah, whatever. It is what it is. Moving on to
Hope and Arthur?
Yes, another catastrophe. We disagree on this one a little.
Okay.
I know.
Well, let's start at the beginning.
Alcoholism.
Hope and Arthur is the dude with the triangle on his forehead. You want to skip down to Bianca and Daniel?
Sorry. Yeah, we could do that. No, let's save them for a second to last.
Who? Bianca and Daniel?
Hope and Arthur.
Okay, so let's go to Bianca and Daniel.
Bianca and Daniel.
This is the one that we do not agree on.
Let's hit Julian and Christine right quick because they weren't that long. Pretty much, Julian and Christine are having issues with
money.
Christine upset with Julian because he's not getting another lawyer for another case that she's trying to fight with her mom in
a custody battle.
In, I want to say,
West Virginia. Her other kids are in Ohio. He has a lawyer for the kids in Ohio.
He got her a lawyer for the custody battle in Ohio, which I don't know why he thinks they're going to win that.
Because he loves her, Calvin.
She just got out, so they're not going to side.
She's not established or anything.
Exactly. They're not going to side with her, so that's a wasted money. It's all wasted money because they're not going to side with her with the mom neither. It's all wasted money.
I wonder what she's fighting for, though. Is she fighting for visitation?
Custody.
Right now, she doesn't have visitation of her kids either. So I'm wondering if they're trying to fight for visitation first and then for custody. She's got to know that she can't be granted custody.
It's not going to happen. So she's upset because he wouldn't get a separate lawyer for
West Virginia
to fight the mom for custody or
I thought it was visitation.
Visitation rights. On top of that, he's like, yo, I don't have the funds to really get another lawyer.
I can barely get the funds together for this one.
I'm just saying, if you can just get a part-time or do something to bring in something, it'll help. So she's upset. I'm now starting to think she saw that dude as a mark. I don't think she wants to work.
I agree and I don't agree at the same time.
I don't think she wants to work.
When she talks about work, to me, the way I've perceived it, when she talks about work, it sounds defeatist. It doesn't sound like the typical lazy, he needs to do it because I said so. It sounds like she feels like she's given it several tries in the past for it not to work. So she doesn't want to set it up again for it not to work.
She went back to drugs and went back to jail.
I feel like it was a chain situation that led to other events, in my opinion. Because the way that she talks about it, it sounds like a hurt. It doesn't sound like an avoidance necessarily. Now, I will say her frustration with Julian about pushing her to get a job, I kind of agree with her. The way he talks about it is like Christine just has to pick up a phone and she's working. And that's not how it works, especially with her prison history.
I get that. And yeah, it's going to be hard because she robbed.
She robbed 6 banks.
She robbed banks. She stole money.
And, I mean, she's got 2 counts of being a felon now.
But she stole money. So people are going to be really hesitant to give her a job.
Plus her drug history. Like, it's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard her say, I'm not going to work, period. I haven't heard her say that.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
I think she just doesn't want to have doors slammed in her face.
Yeah, it's going to be hard. I get what you're saying. Yeah. So, moving on to Bianca and Daniel.
Yes. Another couple we agree to disagree on.
So Bianca meets Daniel's mom and dad.
We should start at the beginning. She's now in her furnished apartment in Arizona
Because she's in Arizona in the furnished apartment.
She
Yay.
doesn't like being alone while simultaneously boasting that she's glad she's away from everything she knows. That
Anywho,
doesn't make sense to me.
She goes to meet his parents and his cousin. The first thing she does to get
What do you think about her confronting his dad about the unstable comment? She says that first.
That's stupid.
That's the first thing she says at this meeting.
Whatever, it's stupid. Anywho, first thing she does is buy a vodka and cranberry. To show her parents.
Her parents?
To show his parents that she doesn't care about his drinking history. I don't know why. Anywho, they get there. The mom was like, yeah, I'd like to have a drink, but I'm going to get, do you have anything like virgin drinks or whatever she was talking about?
Yep.
Which we find out the mom doesn't drink because the dad has just been 5 months sober.
Yep. He's coming up on 5 months sober.
Not to, I guess,
to support him
and not trigger him again, she's giving up alcohol. And so now I can see where she's coming from with her saying, hey, how much do you love my son enough to give up drinking to make sure to help with his sobriety?
The rest of her story is what made me understand why.
But then it goes into, I guess she had a little problem.
No, she never said she had issues with alcohol.
I think she had they never touched on her issue, but it sounds like she had like a little issue. The dad talked about how he took her liquor and threw it down the drain.
No, he said that if she had liquor, because they were making a comparison to Bianca, how she said she was going to keep liquor in the house. He was like, if she keeps liquor in the house, I'm pouring it in the sink. Because she was like, how would you feel if I was drinking around you? And he was like, I would take the drink out of her hand. I would pour all of the liquor down the sink. That's what that was.
And I think she had a little. So
I think you're projecting.
Anywho, she's had a lot of loss.
Yeah, that was alcohol related.
That alcohol related and drugs related. She lost a son to fentanyl.
Yeah, fentanyl
overdose.
She had an abusive ex.
So she has a lot of triggers around alcohol and drugs.
Well, addiction as well.
Period.
Yeah.
And she's trying to get Bianca to understand that it's
not just a one-on-one thing.
It's a slippery slope. And for some reason, Bianca can't get it through her stupid head.
It fell on deaf ears for sure. She heard that whole sob story
and
was like, whatever, I think I can drink. I think I understand addiction enough that I can drink.
Before
you'll be fine.
And the mom's like, bitch, didn't you just get in a car accident drinking to the drunk driver?
Didn't you have an alcoholic drug accident?
No, I didn't get hit by a drunk driver. My friend was drunk and I didn't notice. I'm like, you didn't notice because you were drunk.
Right. And you just said your friend was drunk, so it was still a drunk accident.
So,
girl,
when they first pulled up, I told Javon, I'm like, that father has an alcohol problem. Oh, just got an alcohol problem.
No, you said it after he said he was 5 months sober. Then you were like, yeah, that whole family has alcohol issues. I said, what?
It makes sense.
I said, what? All of them? And then you were harping on his cousin being a major alcoholic. They haven't said a word about this cousin.
Like I said, him having issues with alcohol makes sense because the father had issues with alcohol. It makes sense.
Daniel, okay.
It makes sense. That's what I was pretty much
Daniel doesn't. They talk about how Daniel's issue is not drinking. It's the drugs that happen after he starts drinking.
The drinking leads to drugs.
Yeah.
So he can't drink without doing something else. That's what I'm saying. He has an alcohol problem.
I view it in the same way how you used to smoke to stop drinking. I view it like that. Drinking led to you smoking.
Sure.
It did, right? That was part of your routine. If you were drinking and in your head you got it in your head that you wanted to stop drinking, you said the only way you could stop was if you were smoked. You don't remember that?
Yes. But
so that's how I view it.
I gotta watch what I say sometimes.
Because she talks more about Daniel's issues with addiction, and she uses that word specifically, addiction. So I don't think it's alcoholism necessarily.
Like I said,
because he's in jail for drug use.
Like I said, the alcohol is a gateway to other things. So yeah, I don't think this. I want to see how this is gonna work out.
Bianca is so young. The other thing is Bianca is young. She's 23.
I already see him getting out, and she want to go celebrate, and she's gonna be sitting there eating, and she's gonna be drinking.
Yeah,
I already see that happening. I want to see how he handles that, or what he says.
What a test. Well, he's got to see if we can get out the halfway house. The other part of that is that they have a plan where when Daniel gets out, he's gonna tell his PO, "I'm not going to the halfway house. I'm staying with my wife."
So he's gonna be in the halfway house.
Yeah.
Anyway you look at it. Moving on to Hope, back up to Hope and Arthur. So whatever this evening thing, I guess she gets over that.
Hope lectures Arthur the next day about him staying out all night with his mom. She was like, "I don't trust you staying with your mom that long. I wouldn't even trust you with Jesus." And I was like, that is a very bold statement. These are very interesting things to be jealous about.
Why people who hurt people say things like that?
It's insane. Arthur, we find out, is a burgeoning fashion designer. Hope got him a sewing machine. So they're at a fabric shop to check out things for future projects that he's got in mind. Like he wants to make this he called it a cookie camo shirt, basically. So it's
He
a
wants to
brown
make a
and
vest.
well, he wants to put the white shirt underneath it so it has sleeves.
Yeah.
So he wants to make it one thing.
Oh, okay, whatever.
But which I thought was cool. I was not expecting him to be a fashion designer. That was real cool.
Stop.
It was cool. Hope ends up taking a FaceTime call from her sister, but she's secretive about it. She doesn't want Arthur to interrupt her at all. And it turns out that's because she hasn't told her family at all about Arthur. She's worried about the reaction to Arthur. She feels like it'll cause a lot of drama and whatever. So she wants to avoid it entirely. Mind you, this is the same chick who's like, "Arthur, you need to tell me everything." But she's not doing the same thing. So she shushes Arthur at one point when he's asking her who she's talking to.
That's the first time he wanted to kick the demon out of her chest.
She hangs with her sister in a rush and is like, "Yeah, it was my sister. Yeah."
But his third eye didn't see the demon yet.
He basically finds out that she's keeping him a secret, and she's like, "They'll know when I need them to know." Later, we find out Arthur has come across some Polaroids of Hope with another man.
With a penis in her hand.
She previously cheated on him, which she explains as having led him to believe that they were exclusive. And he's generally upset about it, but it's very clear Hope doesn't want to talk about it because she's like, "It was a picture, so," and he's like, "All right," but then she's like, "Well, let's talk about it." And he's like, "We don't got to talk about it," and he just shuts down. He shuts down entirely, and she gets on him about shutting down too. He explains how, like in jail, showing any kind of emotion whatsoever was a weakness that could get exploited. So he's learned to be a stone, basically, around when it comes to that stuff. But it's clearly bugging him. And he gets up and leaves.
So he had to get the triangle on his tattoo on his forehead to protect him from the demons because he's Constantine out here fighting demons to keep us safe in the mortal world.
Cal was talking about demons because in one of his confessionals, he's talking about how overwhelming it is to be out with the people again and how he's seeing demons everywhere. Like his paranoia is at an all-time high being out because he's so used to having to watch his back in a confined space. But now he's out in the open and he generally feels like he's still in prison. He's still keeping his prison mentality of like, I need to watch my back at all times.
The triangle on his head is a symbol of him being able to, his third eye.
He's cracking these jokes, but then it gets really scary. It gets to a point where Hope finds Arthur and he's talking like he's a statue. He just says, "I love you, Hope." He's not really making eye contact with her. He's fully disassociated. He's almost like looking through her. At a point, she's trying to hug him and he's not really moving his arms.
Because now his powers are coming through and he's seeing the demon in her.
They call his mom and she tries to like talk him down. And it kind of works. He kind of breaks out of the trance that he was in.
And then he does the Constantine thing.
He doesn't do any Constantine thing. He literally has a mental break. We literally watch him have a mental break. He gets off the phone with his mom and all of a sudden he is stuttering and he is crying and he is shaking. And it cuts to black. We find out production the production was halted and they offered him mental health services. I found the wording of that was very weird. Offered him mental health services? Not he received mental health services? Anyway.
Sounds like he blacked out before, and this wasn't the first time they'd seen it. I guess they thought it was just for TV the first time. And I guess the second time when he really did it, the way he looked at her, because like I said, he was about to go into the
Calvin keeps cracking these jokes, but it was very serious. It's very serious. We see another confessional where he's talking about what he's seen in prison. and how it's clearly traumatized him.
He saw.
Quite clearly.
I saw a man leave his body, son.
And it's at a point now in his life that he's been in prison more than he's been out in the free world.
It's just like the Bone Thugs and Harmony Crossroads. I literally saw that in real life. I'm gonna miss everybody. I'm gonna miss everybody.
Calvin's making a lot of jokes about a very dangerous situation. I think everybody
First
is
of all,
in a situation that could harm everybody.
first of
Arthur
all,
can be a danger to himself. He can definitely be a danger to Hope. Hope can be a danger to Arthur and the mental health space that he's in right now. It's very serious.
First of all, whatever. This dude has a triangle on his forehead. If you can't tell something's wrong with him, then I don't know what to tell you. He has a tattoo on the side of his face with word. I don't even know what the words say.
So he doesn't deserve to be helped?
We knew there was something mentally wrong with this dude.
So he doesn't deserve to be helped?
What I'm saying to you is he shouldn't have been on the show, number one.
So he doesn't deserve to be helped?
You can't help him if he doesn't want to get help himself. You can tell somebody to get help. If they don't want it, it's nothing you can really do.
I think he's literally at a space where he has to be legally mandated to get help.
That doesn't work.
That blackout was very scary.
That doesn't work. Anywho, yeah. It was disturbing to say the least. Very disturbing. Because I knew something was wrong because I'm looking at her. We're talking. I'm like, he's looking through her. He's not even looking at her.
I said that. I like how you just be taking credit for stuff.
Siobhan goes, I don't know what's going on, but I think he's seeing demons right now. And I'm like, I concur. They need to stop shooting right now. They need to get this dude help. And then when I started talking about it, I'm like, I don't think this is the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I think they called his mom last time. She was able to calm him down. So they thought he was just having an episode or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They can handle. This time, I think, I'm going to be honest with you, it's like I said, the pictures he found was really messed up pictures.
I don't know that they necessarily were messed up or if they just led to a spiral.
Nah. The first time, I think it was okay.
Uh-huh.
I think he got himself together. I think when he found those pictures, because, okay, I don't think none of this is made up. I think he really, really had a mental breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
I think when he found those pictures were something he really wasn't ready for. Those pictures were really messed up. I think there were pictures of either her with a dude, doing something.
I don't think they're as...
Because to me, regular pictures of a dude, I don't think would make him have that breakdown like that. That don't make sense to me.
It felt like the straw that broke the camel's back to me.
Yeah, because I think
like.
the pictures that he found was crazy.
So you can kind of see one when he pulls it out that envelope. You can kind of see one, and she's clothed. At least in the top picture, because he pulls out like a couple. The top picture, she's clothed. She's not naked. So I don't think it's a gratuitous photo.
I think the first one, I think when he went through the rest.
I think the photos represented something else.
Okay.
And that's because he gets out. He's in contention with her and his mom. Then he's in further contention with her about living in the trailer or the truck, whatever that thing is. Then he's in further contention with her because she wanted to have sex right away and he just wasn't up for it. He just wasn't ready for it. And she's upset and she thinks it's related to his cheating. These are all consecutive days. It hasn't even been 3 full days that he's been out. So all of these events that we've been watching have been compacted into like 3 days.
I think he was able to compartmentalize all that stuff.
I feel like he hit the brim of compartmentalizing.
Yes, when I think he found those photos.
I agree that the photos were the trigger. I just don't think they were nude photos.
I think they were more. I think because I don't think those are from knowing what she kind of does on the side. I don't think those are the first photos he found.
I still don't think they're nude photos.
Oh, whatever. Agree to disagree. I think he found something that like.
I think it's her hugged up on people.
Everything he had, every wall he built up broke. And he went
I agree. These pictures were the trigger. I just don't think they were nude photos.
The reason I said that because he wouldn't even mention what the photos were.
They were already having conversations about her cheating.
But he wouldn't even mention what was in the photos. Every time he get ready to mention what was in the photos,
He said,
gets upset.
these are photos of you with some dude. That's what he said.
Yeah. And every time he get ready to mention what it is, he gets mad and he shuts straight down.
Every time. There's only the one time.
Okay. Moving on to Zariah and Troy.
Okay.
This one is where we were like, Troy, just go to Buffalo, take care of your daughter, call it a day. Because you're not going to win this one.
Are you going to start from the beginning or are you just going to jump in again?
He's not going to win this one. You can go ahead.
We're picking up right after the church debacle of 2023. They're supposed to be packing up to get on the train to go to Buffalo. Zariah is getting stuff ready. Troy is trying to ask her, like, hey, what else do we need to throw in a bag so that we can go? Because, we're getting close to departure time, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, I'm just getting ready at this point. It is what it is. And Troy mentions that he talked to his baby mama earlier to like get some final details about when he can go and pick up his daughter. And for whatever reason, this sets off Zariah. And she goes, well, I don't even know if I want to go anymore.
Because she's very insecure with herself.
It just triggers this heart. She threatens to not to go, period. She throws a full tantrum about asking why he's even on speaking terms with his baby mama. You got his mom, who she already asked to come to the place in the first place, siding with him, being like, he got to have a conversation. He has to have a conversation with this girl. They share a daughter. And it's Zariah being like, nah, you guys keep making all these excuses. He does not need to have all this communication with her. And it's like, what is happening? And it's a breaking point for Troy. Like, he doesn't know what else to say, so he just leaves and goes for a long 6-mile walk.
The reason it's a breaking point for Troy is because, number one, I just got out. You brought my mom in here without asking me, knowing I haven't talked to her in like, what, years? Number one. Then you get mad at me for you bringing my mom here and her getting on your nerve. When you brought her here, I didn't. And trying to make it like it's my fault for you bring my mom here because you thought me and my mom needed to talk. Oh, by the way, now you're upset because I have to talk to a woman who I have a child with to figure out how and where we're going to meet for my daughter. And now you're acting like the conversations that we had were some type of coded conversations of us trying to get back together and me cheating on you some type of way, talking to her. As if I'm doing something behind your back. Because you went to some shrink or some spiritual whatever. Psychic. And she told you me and my baby mama
are still in love.
Still in love. I don't know what else to tell you. Do you want my phone? No, I don't want your phone. You can delete stuff. Bitch, why am I here? Why? And then now you're blaming me for stuff that you did. So that dude was like, I'm out.
We get these confessionals from Zariah's point of view where she's like, I just make all these compromises. And it's like, what are you talking about? I made compromises with his mom, with his baby mama. No.
There's no compromise with my mom. I didn't want my mom here.
No one told you to bring this chaos to your house.
Exactly.
You did that.
You brought chaos to yourself. My parents told me never to chase no man. Did it also to tell you not to chase a man that you ran off?
She says that and then chases him. So it didn't make sense any of the ways. None of the ways. They end up getting in the car, her and his mom get in the car, drive to the train station thinking he might be chilling there, waiting to go. But he's not there.
They eventually come back to the house. Troy's mom is trying to talk to her.
Well, Troy's mom is fielding calls from the baby mama.
But Troy's mom is fielding calls from the baby mama, like Javon said. And she's telling half conversations vague conversations.
First of all, she's sharing too much information with this baby mama. She does not need to share. Like the fact that Troy gone, she doesn't need to share that at all.
Which contradicts her whole thing in the first place that they don't get along.
Yes, it does. Especially since this woman has her number.
So, in her relating this back to Zariah, who's unstable, isn't helping the fact.
Yeah.
Because her mom was like, she said Troy's like trying to figure out, he just got out, he's trying to figure out this and that and this and that. And she's like, why is Troy having these depth in conversations with her? I'm like, bitch, what she just said was vague as hell.
Yeah.
Nothing that she said was detailed.
Yeah, that was really weird. Troy's mom is like, yeah, Yana's saying that, he just got out. He's overwhelmed. He wants to do stuff, but he can't just do stuff. Literally like that. Verbatim. Those are the words. It's so super vague and generic. And it's Zariah being like, why she know all this? How many conversations is he having with her?
I'm like, bitch, hit your head on the steering wheel. Please. So then here's where
twist.
Troy was literally trying to tell her, I don't know my mom like that. Her mom randomly said, his mom randomly says that
Yana is telling her,
the baby mama is telling her that Zariah's been having some other dude.
Yeah, that she's close with apparently, and she's messing around with in the apartment. When Troy wasn't there, and it's like, what?
So now his mom is taking. Sound like his mom is taking it upon herself to find out if that's true or not.
Was she prompted by producers? Did
don't.
Producers prompt her? The edit is weird.
I don't know.
The edit is weird.
Everything at that point is weird. First of all, this dude done walked so far. He done walked the bottoms off his Jordans.
They're like 6 miles later.
He's done walked 6 miles. And then randomly he stopped like Forrest Gump when he was running. He was like, I think I'm tired of running.
His ranting started to sound illogical. He's like, I'm living in her world. She's not living in mine. What am I supposed to do with all of this? And then also these ancient producers are like, well, you need to have this conversation with Zariah. What did you think he was trying to do in that apartment?
And he looked at her like,
roll the footage.
Did y'all not have the same, would y'all not have standing there when I was having the same conversation?
I've clearly been trying to have that conversation.
I've had this numerous times. It's nothing I can do. I don't know what else you want me to tell her.
Insane. And we leave it there. Do they make it to Buffalo?
Leave
I don't
it
know.
there. No, they didn't make it to Buffalo that day because they left the train station. So there's no way they got to Buffalo that day. And that's pretty much the chaos of Love After Lockup.
It's insane. On to 90 Day the Other Way. Ignore that episode number because it's incorrect. So
I wasn't even going to bring it up.
Good. So I say we jump into Shekinah and Sarper because it's like one sentence.
Shekinah
is really milking this fight she had with Sarper. She's really harping on the fact that her extension got pulled at some point.
I don't think she's milking it. I think her face is frozen.
Well, so it's implied that she's triggered. She talks about an abusive relationship that she had with an ex and how like she just feels really triggered by the events that took place with Sarper on their birthday, which is not really their birthday. So she meets up with Sarper later and he is apologetic and he gets her a present, but she is not feeling it. And she's like, I'm really heavily debating whether or not we should even continue this relationship. And he's like, we should try to stick it out. We can't just throw away the last year or whatever. And she's like, yeah, we can. And we just leave it there for them to continue to drag out this fight. So that's it for Shekinah and Sarper.
I don't have anything for them.
Okay.
Their storyline is the fakest.
Corona and Inky is also really short. They finally meet Corona's side of the family. She brings them up on FaceTime. It's her mom, it's her sister, and her granny. And it goes exactly the way you thought it was going to go. It's basically a bunch of Coronas that he's got to meet. And they're like, you heard her, we heard you. I'll throw you in that volcano. How do you feel about her attitude?
Dead.
They also kind of like Dirty Dozen's Corona to him, where they're like, wait till you get that attitude. And when it happens, just leave the room. You're in for a world of change when she finally drops this attitude on you. I'm like, this is very interesting, family.
That's what happens. They don't want her over there. So they're going to do that.
It's very interesting.
It's par for the course.
It's also interesting that Corona's mom straight up says that she's not that close to her daughter, but the sisters are close. That was very interesting.
It's not interesting. That's a woman who's been deaf all her life and knows what's up.
I guess.
She don't pull no punches. She might be autistic too. She might be on the spectrum.
You're throwing a lot of things in there. All right.
So that being said, they're very honest. I think her mom has accepted who she is and what their relationship is. And she's like, I'm not going to lie about it. I'm not going to pull no punches about it. It is what it is.
Oh, okay.
I was trying to make sure they had a roof over their heads and what I needed to do.
Mhm.
I was deaf this whole time. I kept it pushing. I didn't have time.
Mhm.
So I think her mom looked at it like that. Like a lot of moms who are that age, probably from that
Generation
would do.
Okay.
So her mom is like pretty much like
It is what it is.
people in my family. So I understand her mom being that way.
Okay.
Being like, hey, I did what I had to do.
Very interesting approach. Josh and Lily.
It's just I did what I had to do. You either accept it or like it. I'm not gonna.
You paint this picture of your family being like this really like cold,
I'm
non-feeling
not
group.
saying she's cold. She's just saying, hey, I had to do what I had to do.
Oh, okay.
That's it. It's not being cold.
Very
She's like,
disassociative.
it's like I did what I had to do to make sure I could provide for you guys and keep a roof over your head.
I'm just saying the picture you paint is not what I've seen in person. It's just very interesting that this is how you paint it.
It's certain people.
Okay. That's fair.
all.
That's fair. Josh and Lily also having the same fight over and over again. Josh is upset with Lily. First, he says it's because she's not paying him attention when he keeps seeing these flashing lights. He really wants to have this serious conversation with her about these flashing lights he keeps seeing when they're driving around.
First lie.
Lily's like, I don't understand why this is a focus. Then it grows into him feeling insecure about the fact that he's not working again.
Second lie.
Then he's like, Lily keeps throwing in my face that she's paid for all this stuff.
Which is a defense mechanism for Lily because Lily feels as though he's not doing or he's not
she feels
valuing
just
her.
yes, value. She doesn't feel that he's appreciating her, and is just for whatever reason trying to pick on things.
And every time he proves her right because he doesn't do what he needs to do.
Exactly. So they have a conversation, and it seems like they kind of come to a consensus that they're going to work on their communication with each other. But Josh leaves it with he still has this like sneaky suspicion that they're not going to be able to get past the whole he's not working thing. He's not going to be able to get past.
But
the he's not
Josh is
working
about to let her down again, and she's going to punch him right in the balls
She
again.
needs to punch him. And anywho, onto the juicier couples. You want to talk about Statler and Dempsey or James and Natalia first?
Any, many, money will pick one.
James and Natalia. We get a break from some crying this week. So there's that. Growth.
I don't think I saw their...
They were the first one. They move into a barren room in her family home.
Oh, and they pretty much... Here's where I would say they were crying about nothing because they put that room together in like 5 seconds.
Like it was nothing. They got flooring down because it was down to the studs. They get flooring down. They get wallpaper up. They get them a mattress. They get bedding. They get like all this stuff to make that room comfortable and livable, like in a snap of a blink of an eye.
It was something even IKEA couldn't do.
It was like same day adventures.
That's literally how it was. And I was like, that actually looks like I would want to actually have one of my rooms look.
So, but James's other concern is that they're so close to the parents' room. Whatever, sir.
It's not like he's trying to make babies anyway, so what's the point?
He wants to.
What's the point?
He wants to make love. He just doesn't want the babies. Whatever. We find out. Later, he goes and gives presents to all the family that he brought from America. I'm trying to figure out why they have this Lego bag in a Ziploc bag.
What Natalia needs to do, say, if you can't go skeet, you can't beat.
So the only reason all this baby stuff comes up is because after he's given all these gifts out, the parents are like, well, when are y'all gonna have these grandchildren? So you're not just, Uncle James, you're Daddy James. And
Oh.
he's just like, because he doesn't want kids.
Also, the reason why the Legos were in a plastic bag is because it's probably Legos that he got from
like a hand-me-down situation,
from the Goodwill, or Legos that he had from his childhood in the bag,
and he just packed them on up.
Kids.
They loved it though,
yes,
because they were like, Lego, like they lost it. So, but again, we revisit the conversation about how James does not want to have kids. James is unaware that Natalia knows he doesn't want to have kids. And she's kind of avoiding that conversation for right now because she's hoping it'll change. Because her parents are expecting grandchildren. So, and James is feeling the pressure because now he's living with them. So, we leave it at that. Then we have the insanity that is Statler and Dempsey. To continue the saga of Statler regretting her choice to move all the way out there, she gets into a money conversation with Dempsey. And she's like, listen, I'm realizing I'm paying all the bills right now for our van adventure. It's sparked because they have to go buy diesel, or petrol as they call it, to put into the van.
They call regular gas petrol.
They pay like 88 pounds.
Yeah, because pounds are more than dollars.
But Statler is like, I usually pay like $30. 30 pounds is still more than $30. Anyway.
Yes.
But Dempsey is not Dempsey. Statler is appalled that they had to pay this much money for the van. She was like, I did not know it was going to take that much gas. I also want to shake Statler and be like, do you see the size of your vehicle? Do you see how big it is? You see what it's powering?
You know what?
Inside?
Screw all this.
Why do you think this?
You know what? Screw it. Statler's getting on my goddamn nerves.
She never remembers anything.
This whole using your ADHD and your little... I almost said the R word. I almost said the R word.
Goodness.
I'm so mad.
So
using her,
they
call it
her autism.
Yes, as an excuse for her not remembering a damn thing.
Ew. So they're having.
Dempsey goes, look, we had this conversation about money and all the stuff that you were going to pay for all this stuff.
Yeah, because Statler told her she was going to pay for all this stuff,
and that you were going to do it. And Statler looks at her and goes, I don't remember that conversation.
I don't recall that being a conversation.
She said, I did not want to leave now. I wanted to work somewhere. I'm like, if you don't feel comfortable, I can work and stay in my home and work another year or so. Yeah. We don't have to leave now.
She was like 6 months to a year, save up some money, and then do this.
But you kept saying, I want to leave now. I want to leave now. I want to leave now.
Which, if you watched the prior season of 90 Day the Other Way with them, that's exactly the conversation they had, where she wanted to move in immediately.
You know what? I just had an epiphany. I'm not even mad at Statler anymore.
Oh my God! Every time
I'm mad at Dempsey.
Every time,
because this is a recurring theme for Statler. At some point, as Dempsey, you got to go.
I don't understand why for you only one person has to be wrong. I don't get that logic. I don't get why only one.
It's like
at
this.
Some point.
It's like this. If I keep treating you bad,
okay.
If I keep treating you bad,
and
you keep coming back to me, is it really my fault?
Yes, because you are still the person treating me bad.
How?
Because you're the person who's treating me bad.
It takes two. If you don't come back, I can't treat you bad, can I?
Both people can be in the wrong.
No.
Both people can be at fault.
You already know it's not going to get better. I'm going to continue to treat you bad. So you're telling me
people who are in physical abuse situations, who keep going back to their abuser, we can't blame the abuser in that situation either, because they keep going back?
At some point,
what we know now about all of the emotional and psychological stuff that is tied to that, you're telling me we can't blame the person who's doing the abuse.
At some point, your safety and your being and your life has to mean more to you than them. At some point, you have to put yourself above them.
But like you've also pointed out, logic only has to make sense to what?
One person.
Right. So
I understand, but at the same time too, that doesn't mean I have to accept it.
No one's asking you to.
Exactly.
You're not in the relationship.
So to me, mm,
It's one thing if you had
can't.
a friend complaining to you.
And that's a little that's different from what I'm talking about now.
The context.
Yeah,
I feel
that's
like
different.
the psychological torture is the same. I feel like this is an emotional abusive situation where Dempsey keeps going back to her abuser, and I'm not sure why. But you also still have somebody who's inflicting the abuse.
I can't be mad at the abuser when you know the abuse is coming.
That doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't make sense.
If you know at some point he's
Two people can be at fault. Two people. Dos.
Correct.
Both people.
But the person that's taking the worst of the
I don't think you can 50-50 this. In my opinion, I don't think you can 50-50 it.
Yeah, you can.
You can't be like, well, the scales have been tipped, so now it's all you. I don't agree with that.
Yeah,
because you still have somebody that's inflicting this as well as somebody who's repeatedly receiving it. You have it in both parties.
You know the person that's inflicting it is not going to change.
But that doesn't absolve them of inflicting it in the first place.
I get that.
Also, that's not how the law works.
I get
Surprise. The law doesn't go, well.
I get that. But that doesn't mean you have to keep going back.
But you have to have there's a psychological element to this, clearly, for people to know they don't have to go back. Dempsey's not there yet. For whatever reason, she's not there yet. And to an extent, Statler's not there yet either.
So I don't have to care when Statler says dumb stuff to her and reminds her that she is Statler. I don't have to feel bad for
Here's
Dempsey.
my question. Where is this loyalty coming from? They haven't, to the way the show has depicted it so far, they've only face-to-face been with each other for about a year. Where's all this loyalty coming from?
It's coming from Sir Davis.
I guess. Brought to you by Beyonce. I guess. Because Statler continues to complain about being on this road trip.
And that's what I'm saying. She has done nothing but bring you down for doing what you want to do.
But I also want to point out
that Dempsey was a free spirit, that Dempsey lives by the seat of her pants.
Dempsey's explanation of how she doesn't worry about money because money will always be there when she needs it was wild. And here's
what I will say to that. It seems to find her.
I agree.
As long as it finds her.
I agree.
And it works for her.
She's lived her whole adult life living like this.
Like I said.
I agree.
Like you just said, logic only has to make sense to one person.
But I mean, for her, the functionality of all that has worked. It's worked.
Exactly. So if you're
it's been successful.
Statler and you know this and you know you can't handle that.
Dempsey or Statler.
If you're Statler, you already know that. You know that it don't work for you.
But they don't know that because they forget.
Walk the hell off.
They don't recall.
Exactly. Once again, that's why I'm saying I can't blame her because Dempsey is used to. She does it. She did this in the first season. She did it in the first season.
To the same degree, I would argue that Statler, in the same vein, Statler's just is also repeating her own cycle of abuse because Dempsey also did this in the first season. She's like, she didn't have a bathroom because she had just moved into that caravan.
And what I'm saying to you is, I don't care, but
the people around them have established that this is a repeat of their other non-functional relationships.
I'm talking to the person who's being hurt and affected.
I'm saying. To me, in terms of the cycle of abuse for these people, they are repeating on both of them. On both ends are repeating the same behaviors.
Yes.
Dempsey's dad says you tend to go out with people who don't prioritize you. And that's exactly what she's doing right now. And Statler's friend points out that you tend to get with people who expect you to be in control of all this stuff. And that's exactly what she's in right now.
And what I'm saying to you is
we're going to agree to disagree because I don't agree with putting the blame on one party.
My thing is with Dempsey. Mm-hmm. You're always surprised when this happens. I don't know why.
I disagree about the surprise. I'm frustrated. Absolutely.
Then why are you frustrated? You should know this is coming. Because it happens every time.
I understand that for you don't understand why she keeps putting herself through this. To an extent, I would also argue, why do you keep putting yourself through this dynamic? Every season has a couple like this, where they just go back and forth and do insane stuff. And we watch every season. So if you know that you can't take it, watching a couple go through this, why do we keep doing it?
I'm fine.
You're clearly not.
My thing is the person is going through it.
You're clearly not okay with it.
No, I'm okay. My thing is, I don't understand why the person keeps doing it.
But we've watched countless couples do something like
this. My argument is, I can't blame the person that's doing it.
Which I disagree. Which I disagree with.
That's my problem. I don't. Whatever. Sure. I just think
because I don't think the person that's causing the harm gets absolved because you feel that they can't change. I disagree.
I think you're thinking I'm absolving it. I'm not absolving them. What I'm saying is the person,
that's exactly what you're doing. When you say I can't even, it's not even their fault anymore. When you say that, those words mean that you're absolving them.
When I say that, I mean I can't be mad at them because they're doing what they normally do.
How about let me reframe it for me then, because I'm very serious about words. Words mean a distinctive thing for each word. So I guess what you're saying for my brain is that your expectation of them,
yes,
you don't expect any other reaction out of them.
Exactly.
So you don't understand why this other person is expecting a different reaction out of them.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. They're going to do what they're going to do. They do it every time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why you expect something differently. The fact that Statler goes, I don't remember this conversation, well, she's done it every time. Remember when they talk about the kids?
Yeah.
I don't recall.
Right. We literally watch them have the fight about having the kids, with Statler being like, I can't have the kids. And Dempsey being like, well, then I guess we're done because I want to have kids. And then Statler backtracking. Flash forward to the tell-all. And again, it's Statler being like, I don't recall this.
Exactly.
I don't recall all of that.
That's my thing.
Girl, do you black out?
My thing is, why do you keep putting yourself through a circle that you know is never going to break?
But I think the issue is that there's a hope that it will, which is what the cycle of abuse is.
That's why it's a circle. No matter which way you go, it's still going to end up to the same.
But the other thing is, we are not in that relationship. So for us to look at it rationally is not a big deal. When you're in the relationship and you're used to that expectation, it's a different psychological outlook, period.
I just think people don't think they can get anything better. So they just go in the circle, thinking that they can break the circle.
I would have agreed with that, but I watched this thing recently where it's not so much that they're looking at the grass being greener somewhere else as much as they are so focused on making that grass green themselves.
Yeah, that's.
So I don't think it's that they don't think they can find anything better. I think it's so much so that they're hyper fixated on what they have right in front of them.
They don't. It's that, and they also don't want to move on because they wanted somebody else to.
They'd rather be with them than be by themselves.
And they don't want nobody else to reap the benefits of
the work they put in or whatever.
Work they put in to whatever. Which doesn't make sense to me. What work are you putting in if you're going through the same thing?
Well, I guess people are feeling like learning to communicate with each other. They see that as work that's being put in. Learning how to talk to each other, compromising, learning how to be in a relationship with each other. They view that as work that they're investing in.
Yeah.
Which technically they are. They are investing in them like that.
It's only if the other person is making an effort to change or understand where
return that investment.
Return that investment. That's all. It's just the circle of life.
It is exhausting.
Hakuna Matata.
It's exhaustive to see Statler time and time again be like, yeah, remember we had this conversation already? I'm going to talk about it again. So,
and you're right. And you're right. That irks me.
It's exhausting.
Being a person who does that too sometimes. I didn't realize how bad that irks people or makes people angry. People are like, I don't remember. Just to say you don't remember. Because I think she says that just so she don't have to take any responsibility for where she is.
Oh, okay.
She doesn't have to take accountability for her actions. That's why she says that. I say I don't remember because if it's not important to me, I don't care. It's not I don't care, it's not important.
I just found it interesting that for every issue Statler brought up, Dempsey had an answer. Yeah. It wasn't a situation of her like stuttering and stopping and being like, She literally had an answer for everything. Why isn't my name on the van? We can't put more than one name on the van here. out here in the UK. It's one person.
And I
told you we could sign a legal document saying that if we were to break up, you get half of whatever the proceeds are.
And here's the thing. I think the reason she has an answer for everything because she's had to in the past. So that's why she dots her I's and crosses her Q's. And also, it's another way of you dating with somebody you know is not going to remember stuff. So you also can kind of take advantage of that if you have to.
Mm-hmm.
It's a get out of jail free card for you too.
Well, to have the document signed?
To be able to get out of this or that.
Mm-hmm.
To move freely. Because to me, Dempsey sounds like a free spirit.
Yeah.
Who really don't want to be tied down.
Or at least like not the traditional settle down situation. Absolutely.
I don't think she wants it. I think she likes the
nomad life.
Perception of being with someone.
No, I think she wants to be with somebody.
I don't think.
She just wants to move.
The reason I say that because the people she picked
are all opposite of her.
Are people who don't believe this. Yeah. Who are too opposite. But I think she does that because she thinks she needs to find that balance.
She's attracted to the perceived stability and then is like,
yes.
Then we'll just figure it out and they'll grow with me, and then they don't, and then
yes,
whatever else happens. I just need them to break up. Let's break up Dempsey and Statler because this is insane. This is insane. Clearly Statler did not want to move out there. Clearly she has a gazillion concerns about it. Clearly she regrets a lot of these decisions that she's made. She does not need to be there. It has to be draining to be around this person all day, every day.
Oh, by the way, in the next episode, she can't get Wi-Fi, right. Which I don't understand why the hell you didn't. Whatever. What else are you watching? Because I'm killing my buzz.
We watched that police show that was hilarious. Oh, it was so good. Oh, I forget what it's called though. On HBO Max again, there's like these little half an hour police sequence shows that show these arrests that are being made in like Ohio
Shout out to
Florida.
My ATL. There was an episode where the lady was at Hartsford Airport and she decided she wanted to spray the fire extinguisher at people.
She kept saying, I need to go to the U.S. Embassy. She was in Atlanta.
This heifer was so drugged up or drunk, she didn't even know she was back in the States.
I don't know what was happening.
It's easy to believe, where the hell did she go?
Where did she think she was?
Where did she go?
No, she's from Atlanta. Because remember, they call her mom. And they're like, we're taking her to the county jail.
How did she not know she's in Atlanta?
Something happened. Clearly an episode situation happened. Because for whatever reason, she keeps calling them foreigners. And that she wants to go to the U.S. Embassy.
First of all, she called them foreigners because there's a bunch of black cops.
But she's in Atlanta. I have 1,000 more questions. But my favorite story out of your Atlanta was the party that was happening in an apartment that wasn't supposed to have anybody in it. Them finding a lady dumping grease outside said apartment who was like, let me go get the owners. I'll be right back. Never comes back. Cops stay in front of the door thinking that because they're on the second level, there's no other way out this apartment. Turns out there is. Around the back, there's a second doorway to this apartment that's ground level. So everybody left. All the party goers that were like jumping and bumping because they went for a noise complaint. They escaped. They ran away. But they find two people who refused to leave the apartment in a closet. I don't know why they thought the closet was a good place to hide, but it's what they did. They get caught by the cops. They're actually cracking jokes with the cops. And as they're about to leave with the cops, their homegirl who was dropping the grease comes right back with 4 new girls.
Because these kids nowadays are idiots. That's why.
Why would you come back?
Because they're idiots.
So she gets arrested. It was hilarious.
I'm happy she did.
And then it turned out they were also doing like a money fraud business in the apartment that they're not supposed to be in. It was hilarious.
My favorite episode of that, I think it's Late Night Cops or something like that. My favorite episode.
What is this thing called?
Oh, I had a couple. The one where the lady fell asleep in the car at the light because she was so drunk.
Oh, they were banging on the window and she woke up and cussed them out and went back to sleep.
She looked at them, cussed them out, and went back to sleep. Guys, she hits the police car in front of her.
No, they blocked her in.
They blocked her in, but she hits the gas and kind of taps them.
No, they tapped her to wake her up.
I thought she actually rolled it in a little bit and tapped him.
Because she was parked.
And they break into the car
Mm-hmm.
and cut it off and get her out. And they're like, how many drinks have you had, like, ma'am? What time is it? Like,
was her response. They were like, 3?
Okay. I did not know that they could take you to jail and you say you don't want to do a breathalyzer
Mm-hmm.
and you want to do a blood sample.
Mm-hmm. A blood draw, right?
Blood draw. They take you to the hospital. You can get to the hospital and go, I don't want to take the blood draw.
Right.
They then have to take you back to the precinct to get a warrant.
This is called late night lockup.
I did not know you can do that.
You can deny it, but it comes with its own consequences. Like they can book you immediately if you decline to do any of that stuff.
It doesn't matter. It seemed like she had a good time.
What do you mean?
She kicked her feet up in the hospital.
Oh, yeah.
And when they got everything ready, I'm like, I don't want to do that.
She threw up in the cop car, made them clean it.
She puked in the cop car, made them clean it up. Of course, this woman was white.
This lady was off the chain.
Let's get that out there.
She was like, I'm not drunk. I'm a mother.
Here's what's funny. A lot of these people were white.
It was hilarious.
Even the Atlanta one in the airport was a white woman.
Oh, the kid who they go to check on him because he's pulled over and they saw smoke come out of his car. He said his engine was on fire.
Oh, so this is Florida. The kid, they go to the side of the road. They go, yeah. They pull up on him. He's like, yeah, my car was on fire, whatever. They help him out there. I'm like, yo. And the cop tell him there's a gas station right up the street.
Right.
It's about to close, but if you get there, boom, you get some dog food, whatever.
Because he's got a dog in his car.
You get some food, whatever. You'll be good to go. Wait for the person to come pick you up.
Right.
They get a call that someone has broken into the gas station up the street. They get there. He waits for backup. I got a canine here. The canine's ready to come in.
Right.
They go in.
Nobody's in there.
Nobody's in there. They jump the desk to make sure no one's behind the counter.
Right.
But they see a card.
A credit card.
Sitting on the counter.
Yeah.
They grab the credit card, looks at it. He's like, you won't believe this.
And it's the name of the kid they just left.
When you talk about it, this credit card on the counter is the name of the kid that I just left down the street.
So they go right back and he's still there.
He's still there. And this kid decides to tell them, I got drugs.
They're like, did you break into the gas station?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did.
I had to get food. They were telling me they were closed, but I needed to get food for the dog.
So I took a knife and broke in the back. You want to see the knife? He's like, not really. He was like,
he's like, I left my debit card though.
You think that's crazy? I got drugs. I got weed. I got
Oh no, he was like, do I have to go with you guys now? They were like, yeah. You have
like,
to
whatever.
go with us.
Well, let me confess. I got weed. I got meth. I got some amphetamines. I got some fentanyl. What else? Let me see. I got a dead body.
I've got an unregistered gun in the bag.
Also got a pistol because
I was trying to sell.
Because I got to protect
it's
my drugs.
got no bullets.
I got to protect my drugs, so I need a pistol.
I got LSD tabs. I took them all though.
What else?
I took all of them.
What else?
He just starts telling on himself.
This car is not registered. There's no tags on this car.
He just tells on himself. This poor baby.
I think I need to get in the back room. I guess.
The thing was, he was so nice. Like he was.
Can I get my friend my dog? Can I get my friend my dog?
Out of all of the crazy people that we see on this show, he was so nice. He just kept telling on himself.
Then it was like another lady. They're like, how many drinks you had? She's like 1,000. They're like, well.
Did you watch that full episode? That was another wild episode.
That's a lot.
Because she's like 1,000 and they were like, how about you step out of the car? And then she gets belligerent. I ain't getting out of this car. And they get her out of the car, but she's a big lady. Like she's tall. And she like weight-wise, she's a big lady. So they're like, oh no. And she starts getting belligerent. So all these cops have to hold her down. So many cops have to come and hold her down.
Titties.
And then they have to strap her to a gurney because she's dangerous. She keeps trying to kick and hit people. But then they realize they got to pick her up and load her into one of the vehicles. And she's a big lady. And they're like, oh, shit.
Big leg girl.
So they had to get more cops.
Walk my way.
It was crazy. And she's laughing the whole time, strapped up, being like, you're not going to be able to lift me. You're not going to be able to take me nowhere.
That's what he said.
It was hilarious. There's a dude be farting in the holding room.
Literally got naked, pulled his pants on, farted in the camera.
Talk about he going to pee on people.
Oh, another one of mine was when they arrested the mayor for drunk driving.
And he got mad.
He got mad. He like, yo, how about you get in your goddamn car and take my wife home? He was like, okay,
I'm your boss.
I'm your boss. He's like, yeah, we got the mayor here. I'm going to have to take his wife home. Yeah, I'm going to take his wife and his wife's mom home.
So because the thing is, he got into a car accident. He was on the opposite side of the road where he wasn't supposed to be and ran straight into oncoming traffic and caused this accident and stayed there while they called the cops to the accident. And then when the cops get there, he's just like, yeah, I had a couple of drinks, trying to get back home. And they're like, sir, we got to take you in the vehicle. We got to take you in our car. And he's like, why? I'm your boss. Get your sheriff on the line. It's just like,
and they're like, I don't know. I don't want to lose my job. I don't know what to do.
They're like, I know I already lost my job. I'm going to start looking
I'm
immediately.
Looking for another precinct immediately. That was crazy.
It's a good show. It's 2 seasons. They're quick and they're short and they are wild. Did you see the weather lady who rolled into an electric pole and miraculously gets out of her car?
No.
You didn't see? Oh, you need to watch that one. She's like a famous weather lady, and she just got fired recently because of that incident that happened.
Of course.
It's a wild show.
What else am I watching?
A wild show.
I think that's all I'm watching right now. I'm looking at some other documentaries of My Ex or something on Netflix. I want to watch that.
My Ex?
Yeah.
I don't know what that means, but all right.
Yeah, the name of it is like My Ex something, but it's like My Ex.
Okay.
It's a bunch of documentaries of females who had crazy exes that did something or try to kill them with something crazy.
Like a killer ex or something?
Yeah, it's different females who had exes who either tried to kill them or killed somebody.
Interesting.
It was like they didn't know this person was whatever.
Was doing what they were doing.
Yeah.
Insane. But yeah, that's it. That's all I got. You got anything else?
No.
Thank you for listening to We Like That podcast.
So we like that.
Go ahead and click that subscribe button. You know you want to. And rate us 5 stars. I'm Javon.
I'm Calvin.
Later, people.
And we're out.